Good evening and welcome to the Wildcat Sports Network. I'm Donald Tucker, the voice of the Wildcats. On tonight's show, we will talk Fort Smith Southside. Also, Drew Dodson and Tally Naseli will be joining us. Today is Friday, October 23rd, 2015, and Wildcat Sports Network starts now. Here to kick things off is Coach Wood. Coach, big game last Friday night. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Fayetteville game. Luke Hannon ran for 333 yards in the game. You get down to the 5-yard line, 10 seconds left. What's your thought process there?
Well, I mean, we're just trying to find a way. We had one timeout left, trying to figure out how many plays we'd get off in that amount of time. And so one of the big things, Fayetteville called the timeout. It gave us a little bit more time to process what we wanted to do. You know, we'd gotten down the field pretty much running the ball. It's always a good option there, especially with a timeout, but we felt under those circumstances it'd be probably a better opportunity to try to throw the end zone a couple times. That way you complete the pass or an incompletion. You might be able to squeeze out 3 plays down there if you need to.
So it almost felt like, from our perspective, that every time you got the ball, you were going to score. Like, it was back and forth the whole game. And it was a defensive battle for sure, but when you're sitting there on the field and you're going through the ball and you're going through the plays, what's your thought process there? What are the things that you're analyzing when you're deciding the next play? Is it a pass play? Is it a run play? Take us through that.
I mean, it's just really the flow of what's going on in the sense of, you try to take in all the information you get from your assistants and what the kids are seeing. Try to put them in a situation to be successful. And, the coaches did a real good job of helping me identify the fronts, what was there, how they're playing the fronts, and then we call our plays according to what they're doing. And, we get into it Friday night. We knew we liked some one-on-one matchups. We knew we wanted to get the ball to Tyler Blackston. We felt he was an advantage for to throw against that safety. We were hoping our outside guys could win some battles against their corners. We knew it'd be real difficult. But once you get in that game, and we knew they were going to really play man and just put everyone in the box. So you've got to take your chances. I think we attempted 27 passes, completed 10, had a couple turnovers in that. But you've got to be willing to continue to vertically stretch the field, because once you get in a one-on-one situation, if you can win that, those are big play opportunities. But, I thought with what our offensive line was doing, how Luke was running the ball, and just trying to eat clock, minimize opportunities for Fayetteville was the big key for us. But really getting into that game is just, we felt good with the counter. Counterplay was really good to us. The week before that, the power play was good. So when we get in, it's really week to week, game to game, and then an adjustment issue once we see what's going on. You had a chance to watch the film. What are the things that need improvement? Well, I think, we've gone up against 2 really good units, and I'd like to see us continue to improve our pass protection. I thought there were some pressure moments that we were able to move around. I'd like that to be a little bit cleaner. I thought our run game was really pretty clean most of the night, just coming off a good pad level and executing there. I think we've got to do a better job of winning routes one-on-one. I mean, we're going to be in one-on-one situations against Southside. We've got to win those matchups. It can't be a draw. We've got to win them. You can't let a team play you man-to-man, be able to put everyone else in the box. You got to make them want to remove a safety. So our receivers got to keep working and striving to win the one-on-ones. Defensively, it just comes down to tackling. I mean, 2 weeks in a row now, I think we've had tackling issues at times. Times we played really clean, but there are spurts where we're not consistent in that. And just something you keep working on and trying to improve on. I mean, this point of the year, it's just trying to get better each week, and you want to be really, really hot come week 11.
Right. Excellent. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Coach Wood will be back with us to help close things out. Right now, we'll hear from our sponsors, but when we come back, Tally Naseli will be joining us. Don't go anywhere. Wildcat Sports Network will be right back.
We came to Arvest Bank to see what makes it different.
It's a community bank that really reaches out to the customers to make them feel special. I feel special every time I come in here.
They want to be involved in the community and want to be part of the community.
They support our university, our athletic department.
They've told us that they could have a fleet of volunteers there to help this year if we needed.
I see them at a lot of our Hispanic community events that we do.
I can't think of another bank in the city that has such a big community presence as Arvest.
Arvest Bank, our customers say it best.
This is Jack. And this
I am starving!
is Jack's appetite. It's never satisfied.
I'm hungry. Seriously, dude? what?
Then Jack's mom started serving Tyson Anytizer snacks. With all white meat and lots of protein, they're the only snacks that make Jack's appetite disappear. Tyson Anytizer snacks. Consider snacking solved.
Here with us now is Tally Naseli. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How's your senior year going?
It's going great. You know what? I guess you could say, like, it's Har-Ber football. If we're winning, then I guess everybody's happy here in Springdale. So it's been pretty good overall.
What have the challenges been on defense for you?
I guess for me individually as a player, I guess like just getting used to breaking down again to make tackles rather than just going straight forward at somebody. But I think my main problem throughout this year so far that I've been struggling with is just trying to get my feet up under me whenever I go to make a tackle or break up a pass or something like that.
If you had a choice, would you play defense or offense?
Oh, I really don't have a preference. Both are pretty physical, or that's how I like to see it. I mean, I'd like to, I think of myself as a pretty downhill player. I'm not the quickest guy, but I do like to hit, so it doesn't really matter to me. As long as we're winning, it's fine.
So you've had the week to run scout offense against Southside. You watched film on Southside. What's your takeaway there? What have you learned this week about Southside?
I've learned that Southside is actually really similar to us in how they do things. They're very downhill, physical, just come right at you kind of game. But similar to, I guess you could say, us and Webb City and how they do things. So that's kind of just how their game plan goes. They'll take it to there every once in a while, but for the most part, they're looking to play downhill and come right at you.
So it's going to be a smash mouth football. I mean, it's your kind of football where you just line up and run at each other.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Great. Tally, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go to another commercial break. When we come back, we will have Coach Day with us to talk a little bit about the offensive line. Stay right there. Wildcat Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Do you need new tires? Do you want a price match guarantee? Do you want to wait in a newly renovated waiting room? Do you want tire services at any time with no appointment? Then Tire Tracks is the place for you. With our price match guarantee and the largest inventory of new and used tires in the area, we have tires for every budget. Tire Tracks, Northwest Arkansas's largest independent tire dealer.
We came to Arvest Bank to see what makes it different.
They took the time to get to know us personally.
They're like my financial counselors through all of this.
I was able to call her anytime I needed.
I enjoy them and I love them and they're like family to me.
You can't get through the door without somebody saying hello. I've tried.
They made me feel at home.
Like a house you walk into and you feel like you can put your feet up on the furniture.
Have you ever actually put your feet up on the furniture?
No, I haven't.
Arvest Bank, our customers say it best.
Here with us now is Coach Day. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about your history. Where have you been before? What were your responsibilities before you got to Har-Ber?
Okay, well, I was, I started my coaching career at Arkansas Tech University. I was a GA there for 2 years and then served as a full-time assistant on the offensive line there for 2 years. And left there and went to Magnolia, Arkansas as defense coordinator. I was defense coordinator there for 4 years before I became the head coach there. And I was a head coach at Magnolia for 16 years before coming and joining Coach Wood here at Har-Ber. And, it's just been a great, coaching experience for me. Been really blessed, to be a head coach at a young age and really blessed to have this opportunity to come here.
What are your responsibilities here at Har-Ber?
Coach the offensive line and work with the PAT team some. Don't really have a lot to do with special teams, but I get to work the PAT team, a little bit. So, that's my main focus, though, is with the big boys.
What if you had to describe your offensive philosophy in one sentence? What would you say?
Physical. I like physical play, and it's a great deal if you coach the offensive line. So. Just love the physical play here and how we play football at Har-Ber. It's exactly what I did as a head coach and what I enjoy coaching.
Excellent, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but stay right here because when we come back, we have Drew Dodson. You're watching the Wildcat Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Chevrolet. You've heard me say we have a better way to buy your new Chevy. If you've not been here to find out what that means, I want to invite you to come see us. You'll love the way we do business. And you can shop our great selection of the North American Truck of the Year, the Chevy Silverado, with the best V8 fuel economy of any full-size truck. Family owned, customer friendly, Everett Chevrolet in Springdale, I-49 at Elm Springs Road.
Welcome home to Lindsay Living. Affordable rates, available on-site management, attitudes of service, and amenities unmatched make residents love where they live and play. From value-packed basic apartments to resort-style living on golf courses, we manage options to fit your needs and wants. Apply online at lindsaymanagement.com for locations throughout Arkansas and in surrounding states.
Welcome back. Here with us now is Drew Dodson. Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Your senior year, having a great year so far, team-wise.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your senior year. How's it going?
It's really fun, and it was like that from the beginning. I think our senior class is really, really close. I think that's what separates us from like the Fayettevilles and the Bentonvilles, is that we have like a really good bond. And so when it gets down to it, and some of these teams are probably more talented than we are, but we're willing to sacrifice for the guy next to us. We have that really good bond. So I think that we're making memories and we're building friendships and we're winning. And so we're having a great time so far.
Talk to me a little bit about Scout this week. You've watched film on Southside. You've run Scout defense or against the Scout defense for Southside. What's your takeaway there?
They're a really athletic and fast defense. They run the ball really well. They run a 3-3 box against most of our stuff, which we assume is going to happen. But then once they think we're in a passing situation, it's a 3-2 box. And then when they have really no answer for our running game, which we're going to try and do our best at with Luke and the rest of the offensive line guys, they're going to run into a 5-2 or a bear front and just try to do everything they can. I really don't know what to expect as far as the nose guard play and the defensive line play. They've had some injuries. They've got a guy who's playing who has an offer to play defensive tackle in college, but they rotate a bunch of guys in. So in scout team this week, I've been against my brother who was playing nose all week. So that was kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, we're going to do our best. We're going to run our stuff, and it's going to be a fun game.
Excellent. Drew, appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, one last word from our sponsors. Up next is Coach Wood to break down Fort Smith. Stay tuned. You're watching the Wildcat Sports Network.
Hometown. That word still means something here. It means we're neighbors. We do the right thing. We care about your family. And you deserve the very best every time you walk in the front door. Harps. Hometown fresh.
We came to Arvest Bank to see what makes it different.
I'm from the old school. I believe in people talking to people.
When they say, have a good day, I think they actually mean it.
Yeah, there's a smile every time you come in.
I walk in, I feel like a king rather than a pauper.
It doesn't matter if you deposit $1 or $1 million.
They treat everybody the same.
The customer comes first, and I like that.
They always go above and beyond to take care of us.
I didn't rehearse this.
No.
This is coming from right here.
Arvest Bank, our customers say it best.
Okay, here back with us is Coach Wood to break down Southside. Coach, tell me a little bit about going into Southside. I know historically it's always been a battle, especially if we play Southside at home. What's your thought process going into Southside?
Well, Fort Smith Southside, we played them more than anybody else in the state. I mean, it's really become, in the 10 years, going on our 10th year, a really neat game in the sense that both teams play the game the right way. Coach Williams does a great job coaching those kids. They're always playing some of their best ball by the time we have to run into them and deal with them. There's always been a lot of stake in these games. I mean, if you track it all the way back to 2008, where they beat us in the semifinals at their place 8-7, till 2009, where we beat them in overtime at our place and then beat them in the state championship, just a few years ago where we played them again twice and they eliminated us in the second round. So, saying all that, I mean, it's usually a classic matchup with two teams that like to run the power, like to be physical. It's going to come down to kicking game and doing all the little things right. That's going to be huge. So usually the team that does those things right wins this game.
What are the things we need to keep an eye out for Southside? I mean, what can we expect when we hit the field tonight?
Well, what we're going to see tonight, they're a team that their quarterback's just a tremendous talent, and that does a great job with his run-pass options. They've got a run play call and everything, but he can pull the ball and throw it if you're not doing your assignments defensively. But defensive, they got 11 guys that can run the football. They're real physical. Probably bring us a lot of blitz packages, try to stop our run, a lot of run stunts. Just try to get us in second and long. They want us to play behind the sticks. We've got to play in front of the sticks.
What are the keys tonight? What are the things we have to do to make sure we get the victory tonight?
Well, the biggest thing is, one, handling the environment and the culture and the rain. I think that's going to be huge tonight. And then we can't turn the ball over. We've got to win field position. If we don't turn the ball over and we can win field position, we'll have a good opportunity tonight.
Excellent, Coach.
All right.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you so much.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Make sure you tune in next Friday night for the final conference home game and senior night. For Superintendent Dr. Jim Rollins and Athletic Director Wayne Stellick, I'm Donald Tucker. Stay tuned. Up next is Kickoff. We'll see you next time.
Do you need new tires? Do you want a price match guarantee? Do you want to wait in a newly renovated waiting room? Do you want tire services at any time with no appointment? Then Tire Tracks is the place for you. With our price match guarantee and the largest inventory of new and used tires in the area, we have tires for every budget. Tire Tracks, Northwest Arkansas's largest independent tire dealer.
Welcome, Wildcat Nation. On behalf of Superintendent Dr. Jim Rollins and Athletic Director Wayne Stellick, welcome to tonight's broadcast from Fort Smith, Arkansas at Jim Rollins Stadium, where our 6-1 Har-Ber Wildcats play the 4-3 Southside Rebels. My name is Donald Tucker, your voice of the Wildcats. Back in the left seat handling the color commentary tonight.
This is Blake Tucker. I'm really happy to be back. Getting in the booth, watching these Wildcats play. I was able to watch them play from the road a little bit last week. A very good football team that we've seen kind of emerge as this season has gone on. We've seen a team that's able to overcome hardships. We've seen a team that's fighting all four quarters towards the end of the game. We're not seeing a lack of intensity towards the end of the fourth quarter. So what we have tonight is a very big matchup between schools that, regardless of what their records are coming into the game, traditionally play each other very, very well. We're seeing, and we've talked about it in the coaches show several times previous. I've said there's really three main teams that Har-Ber plays very tough every year. The first one that they play tough every year is the first team that plays Bentonville. The second one is Fayetteville. Well, they've gotten those two games out of the way. Har-Ber's won both of those games. This is the last game that Har-Ber and Southside play very close every year, talking about within a touchdown almost every single year that they play. And so the way tonight's going to shake out, we're going to see the Hootens number 1 team in 7A against the Hootens number 6 team in 7A, but there's a very good chance you're going to see a scoring deficit not indicative of their Hootens rankings.
So tonight here in Southside Stadium, the Har-Ber Wildcats are lining up to do their run-through. A little bit about Southside here. Jeff Williams is the head coach, nationally ranked. They're 968th, state ranked. They're 11th, 4-3 overall, 2-2 in conference. What can we expect, Blake, out of the Southside's offense here?
Well, there's a few key players on Southside's offense that I'm sure Har-Ber's defense has been working on all week long. The first person that they have to key on is Cooper Johnson. He's the quarterback, number 10. Rushed for 2 touchdowns last week in a 20-0 shutout of Rogers Heritage. On the season, he's 97 for 163, 1,530 yards, averaging 218 yards a game. For the fans that are loyal to Har-Ber, for just a little bit of comparison, Luke Hannon's averaging 192 a game. And so very similar as far as the amount of yards that they get. And the difference is there's a few receivers that he seeks out, and I say few, there's actually one receiver that he seeks out to throw his deep balls to, and that's Evan Simpson. 22 receptions for 420 yards. He's averaging almost 20 yards a reception. So clearly their deep threat guy is able to separate himself, get some space from receivers. Going to be a very big task for Brighton Cook and Blaze Brothers to try to lock him down, maybe Austin Henderson if he lines up in the slot. So going to be some interesting matchups that we need to watch on defense. As far as Har-Ber's offense goes, obviously you have Luke Hannon leading the conference in rushing by a wide margin, rushing 6.6 yards a carry, 1,112 yards on the season. To put that in perspective, second place is Jacob Clark from Bentonville with 719 yards on the season, with averaging only 5.9 yards a carry. So Luke Hannon, through several standout performances, much like the one that we saw at Fayetteville last week, has really distinguished himself as being the king of rushing in the 7A West Conference with really no equal. And so I think tonight we can expect to see the Hannon Express full steam just like he was last week against Fayetteville. And Fuller Chandler is slinging the ball all over the field like we've seen him do several times before.
So Har-Ber comes to tonight's contest. They're nationally ranked 81st in the country, number 1 in the state in the 7A. This is, Southside has lost 3 games this year, but they're going to play like they're undefeated. I mean, Southside, as you mentioned, this is a fist fight. It always has been, and it always will be. Every time Har-Ber comes to town, these guys square off, and it's a state championship caliber game.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the 2 conference games that Southside's lost, they've lost to Bentonville and they've lost to Fayetteville, both teams that Har-Ber played very well and could have just as easily lost the game. They obviously pulled out both of those games, but obviously it's you can't judge Southside on those 2 losses as harshly, because we know as Har-Ber fans how difficult those teams were to play. And so it really kind of puts into perspective their entire record. I'm going to throw it to you, Donald, as we get ready for opening kickoff.
So Southside lines up for kickoff. 12 minutes on the clock. We are ready to kick off here Friday night in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And the kick is off. The kick is up. And it is going to be into the end zone for a touchback. So Har-Ber will get the ball 1st and 10 from the 20 to start tonight's broadcast. So, Blake, do we start off slinging the ball, or are we hitching up the Hannon Express right off the bat?
I honestly don't know here. It's tough to tell. Luke Hannon obviously rushed for 330-plus yards last week against Fayetteville, and so you know that the Southside defense has been keying on ways to shut him down. And the easiest way for them to do that is to key on him with their linebackers. Whereas Fuller Chandler is going to have to step up and fill those gaps, some slants over the middle when those linebackers key on Hannon.
So Chandler back at shotgun, throws to the right. It's tipped. It's going to be received, and I believe that is Doing Dara.
That's correct. Quick little wide receiver tunnel screen out there on the outside edge. Try to get him some space, and got a nice little gain there.
So that's going to be a 5-yard completion for Doing Dara. Brings up 2nd down and 5 for the Wildcats. So Chandler back at shotgun. Hannon behind him, and we got stacked to the right. Hannon up the middle. He is going to dish out a little bit of punishment and get about 3 yards on the run.
Yep. Just like we've seen him do all season long, he's just going to drop his shoulders and plow people over. Another guy to keep your eye on, though, is this guy down here on the corner, number 1, Trey Smith. Number 5 leading receiver in the 7A West. He's got a lot of ability to get open, or he's got a lot of acceleration, so when he's in the open field, he's really good at making guys miss and poses a dangerous threat for Southside's defense.
So Chandler back at shotgun. Trey Smith to the bottom of your screen. Hannon is going to take the ball and get close to the 1st down. He's met at the line of scrimmage, but in typical Luke Hannon fashion, he likes to get about 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah, and that's a little bit about what I was talking about at the beginning of the drive there. You know that when a running back puts up, really when any player puts up 300-plus yards in a game, the defensive staff for the team that's playing them next is going to work on ways to keep that from happening to them as well, because there's nothing more embarrassing than when a player does that to as a defensive coordinator than when a player does that to a team and then turns around and does it to you too, knowing that you had a week to prepare for it.
So 4th and 1, Har-Ber is going to punt. Trey Smith back to punt, and the kick is deep, and it's going to be down to about the 36-yard line for Southside. So they'll get the ball for the first time tonight. 1st and 10 from the 35, and there's 10 minutes 28 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Yep, and we're going to get an opportunity to see what Har-Ber's defense has prepared in order to try to contain Cooper Johnson. It's going to be interesting to see which linebackers they use in certain scenarios. The other thing that's really impressive that we noticed about this first drive here is that Har-Ber's offense was stalled by this defense. And so we're going to have to start finding a rhythm and a little bit of soft spots, find the weakness in their game plan. But there's nobody better at that than Coach Wood and this Har-Ber coaching staff.
So Southside lines up, trips to the bottom of your screen. He's going to keep it. Quarterback's going to keep up the middle. He's going to be hit at the line of scrimmage, and that's number 10, Cooper Johnson.
Cooper Johnson's got 66 carries on the year. So coming into this game, we knew, without seeing any game film, we knew that he was going to run the football. Now the key is for these linebackers in this defensive line to not allow that to happen. Har-Ber prides themselves on having a very physical defense, and that starts with not letting a quarterback run on you.
So Cooper hands it off up the middle, and he's going to fight for about 2 yards. And I believe that's Dixon on the carry. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 5 for the Rebels. There's 9 minutes and 26 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The clock continues to run.
Big down here for Har-Ber's defense, being able to stand up and give Southside right back what they just gave to Har-Ber on their first offensive possession.
Southside brings a man in motion. He's going to hand it off to that man in motion. He's got enough for a first down, and he's going to tack on about 4 on top of that. So the Rebels get a first down as they cross midfield for the first time tonight.
Southside's looking to stretch the field really early on in this drive, move side to side and try to make the interior guys run in to fill the gaps, testing the contain to the defensive ends. It's going to be interesting if they start running up the middle with that, because right now they're trying to widen out those defensive linemen and make sure that there's gaps to run up the middle.
1st and 10 from the 50. Cooper takes the ball, throws across the middle. He is met by Austin Henderson. It looks like Noah Hayward on the tackle as well. There's 8:53 on the clock. 2nd down and about 5.
Kevin White on the reception there. It's actually the number 3 favorite target of Johnson. His first 2 favorite targets being Evan Simpson and Randy Rainwater.
Cooper back at shotgun. We have trips to the bottom of your screen. Single split to the top. Top wideout goes in motion. Johnson's going to keep it. He's going to be met at the line of scrimmage, and I don't believe he's going to have much forward progress, maybe a yard.
Yeah, one thing you're going to find out very quick is that these Har-Ber linebackers take it personally, and that's really a virtue of coaching. These coaches hate letting running backs run the football on them, and thus the linebackers have this basically desire not to let quarterbacks run on them that's been instilled with them since day one that they showed up at Har-Ber. And so they really take it personal when a quarterback is able to get positive yardage plays on them, and look for them to start stepping up their game and shutting some of that down.
So Johnson back at shotgun. We're going to change formations. 2 split to the top of your screen, 1 to the bottom. And it looks like we have a timeout for Southside. So we're going to take the timeout with them. You're watching Wildcat football on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Chevrolet. You've heard me say we have a better way to buy your new Chevy. If you've not been here to find out what that means, I want to invite you to come see us. You'll love the way we do business. And you can shop our great selection of the North American Truck of the Year, the Chevy Silverado, with the best V8 fuel economy of any full-size truck. Family owned, customer friendly, Everett Chevrolet in Springdale, I-49 at Elm Springs Road.
Welcome back to Southside, Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Har-Ber Wildcats and the Fort Smith Southside Rebels are playing. We have 7 minutes, 40 seconds left to go in the first quarter. It is still 0-0. The Rebels have the ball, 3rd down and about 4.
Another 3rd down possession here for the Wildcat defense. virtue of a defense is getting off the field on third down. You can't allow teams to continue to convert on third down because that's what leads to those long extended drives that wears down your starters.
So it looks like they're trying to draw them off sides. 13 seconds left on the play clock. Plenty of time. It's got a bad snap. Johnson picks it up. It's down in the flat. It's completed. And we got a flag on the play.
Flag way back away from the play.
Not sure if that's a legal man downfield, maybe. It's an unusual flag.
Now, ironically, it can be pass interference as well because there's no or holding because there's no uncatchable rule. It is an eligible man downfield.
Illegal man downfield, so that play will come back. It was enough for a first down, but unfortunately, one of the linemen was down there running a route pattern.
Yeah, and that's going to set up an even trickier third down for them. They've had some success getting guys open on medium-length routes early on in this game. Safeties will probably come down and try to play the sticks here as well as the corners.
Third down and a very long 9 for the Rebels. Ball sets about the 49-yard line. Har-Ber's 49.
It'll be third down and 9 for the Rebels.
Looks like we have a little bit of a conference down here with Coach Williams and the referees. There is 7 minutes, 14 seconds left to go in the first quarter here.
Have a conference, an equipment malfunction.
I think we got it all covered.
We're setting up the petting zoo for halftime.
Fort Smith Petting Zoo here at Southside Stadium. 7:03 on the clock. The clock runs. Johnson back at shotgun. Looks to the flat here. It's going to be incomplete.
Blaze Brothers on the coverage there. Really stayed on his hip the entire way. Didn't push the issue because he knew the ball was overthrown. Didn't want to risk a pass interference penalty. And the defense, pending this punt, is going to be able to get off the field here.
So it's fourth down and a long 9. 6:55 on the clock. We're still 0-0 here at Southside Stadium. So it's a
very short punt.
Not a great punt for the Rebels as the ball goes out about the 26-yard line. So the Har-Ber Wildcats will get the ball first and 10 from the 26. 6 minutes, 49 seconds left to go in the first quarter. We're still 0-0. A little bit of a slow start, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, Har-Ber's offense is starting down and 5 yards from where they started the football game with that touchback. There's just less time left in the game here. This being the second drive, though, you'd want to see the offense come out and at least put the ball into Southside Rebel territory. Show that they can move the ball effectively, start extending drives, and then start putting points on the board is the order of operations.
So Chandler back at shotgun. Twin split to the top of your screen. Trey Smith to the bottom. Hands it off to Han, and Han's got a little bit of room, and he's doing a little bit of the shake and bake there. He got about 2 yards on the play, but he stepped for about 40. It's going to bring up second down and 8 for the Wildcats. 6:29 on the clock in the first quarter.
Something to note about Luke Hannon is he's 83 yards away, or at least he was coming into this game, away from breaking the career school rushing record at Har-Ber that was set by Dylan Brinker back in 2006 to 2008.
So Chandler's got Blackston down deep, and we got a flag on the play. It looks like pass interference.
You might have heard the dismay of the home side fans after that penalty was thrown. There's a little hand movement going on between the defenders and the receiver.
And they are going to mark that off against the Rebels.
There's no easier yards than penalty yards. Like I was saying, Dylan Brinker from 2006 to 2008, excellent running back for Har-Ber. Rushed for 3,005 yards in his career, and Luke Hannon, with 7 games into this season, is 83 yards away from breaking said record. He's had a phenomenal career here, and he's about to go down as one of the greats.
Chandler back at shotgun. Hands off to Hannon. Hannon fights through. He looks like he gets about 6 yards. And that's a typical Hannon Express play right there.
Yeah, through his career, he's put up consistently great yardage on his carries. I mean, he's put up this season 6.6 yards average a carry on, I believe, 168 carries.
Chandler back at shotgun. Hands it back off to Hannon. Hannon's bouncing around the left-hand side. He's got enough for a first down. He's going to tack on about 7 more yards.
And just like that, Luke Hannon back in Luke Hannon form, getting chunks of yards with each of those carries. And he's one of those players that doesn't wear down as the game goes on. I don't remember how many carries he took in the Fayetteville game, but he's truly a workhorse back that brings the intensity every single play.
Chandler dropping back for the pass. He's got Trey Smith down deep, and it's off his fingertips as he goes into the end zone.
Pass might have been just a hair long there. Trey Smith reached up with one hand and tried to reel it in. Maybe one you'd like to see him lay out for.
I'm not sure that pass could have been any better, though. He had to get over, a defender and drop it in there. I think Trey Smith, you're right. Just, extend a little bit into the end zone, make the highlight reel.
Yeah, and you'll hear Coach Scott say that when he's with us, because he was the quarterback coach at Har-Ber. He would rather see a quarterback overthrow a deep ball than underthrow it.
Hannon up the middle. He's going to be at the line of scrimmage, but that doesn't bother Hannon. He's going to go for about 3 or 4 more yards.
Shed 2 tackles there right at the line of scrimmage and turned it into a really solid gain. And you've seen him, it's not surprising at this point. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, plays like that just wowed me. Now that's the normal for him. I'm curious as to why that doesn't happen all the time now.
3rd down and 7 for the Wildcats. Chandler drops back, throws down to the sideline for Blackston, who lays out gorgeous, but incomplete.
Seen 2 passes on this drive just out of the hands of his receiver. Fuller Chandler doesn't need to worry about those passes as much because if he tries to make adjustments to that consciously, then you're really going to see balls way off target. And so he's almost there, doesn't need to change too much. Just keep doing what he's doing and it'll be just fine.
So it's 4th down. The Wildcats are going to go for it, it looks like. Dara and Blackston to the top of your screen. Trey Smith to the bottom and Luke Hannon your lone setback. He's going to come in motion to the bottom of your screen. And it looks like the Wildcats are going to call a timeout. So, with 4 minutes, 48 seconds left to go in the first quarter, we're 0-0 here at Southside. You're watching Wildcats Sports Network.
We came to Arvest Bank to see what makes it different.
It's a community bank that really reaches out to the customers to make them feel special. I feel special every time I come in here.
They want to be involved in the community and want to be part of the community.
They support our university, our athletic department.
They've told us that they could have a fleet of volunteers there to help this year if we needed.
I see them at a lot of our Hispanic community events that we do.
I can't think of another bank in the city that has such a big community presence as Arvest.
Arvest Bank, our customers say it best.
Welcome back to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats are 4th and 7. We are lined up in a formation here, so it looks like we're going to go for it. Chandler back at shotgun. Looks like we got a flag on the play. So that's going to go against the Wildcats, illegal procedure. So the punting team comes onto the field.
Definitely bring out the punt unit with that kind of yardage. I was really curious to see what Coach Wood had dialed up there. He seemed pretty set even after that timeout on going for the first down. It's always interesting to see what he thinks the weaknesses are. Those clutch situations are really where you see what he thinks the greatest weakness on that defense is. Could have provided us some early insight.
So Trey Smith back to punt, and he's going to fumble the snap, and he does get the kickoff. It is not a great, and it's got a great bounce, though.
Oh, my goodness.
That was incredible. Bad snap. He gets to go back for it, and the ball ends up about the 7-yard line as it rolls dead.
Not only did he mishandle the snap, hit the ground behind him, was able to locate it, turn around, and still get off a very, very good punt.
Yeah, it wasn't a great punt until it hit the ground and rolled. I think it rolled as far as it
Oh, yeah,
carried.
well, you'll see that especially with these rugby-style kicks that they have Trey Smith doing. He'll roll out if it's a good snap and a good handle. He'll roll out, try to stretch the play, and then kick it end over end. So when it hits, it'll get a lot of extra yardage on the end of it.
4:34 left to go in the first quarter. Southside has the ball 1st and 10. The ball is on the 9-yard line. Johnson's going to hand it off up the middle, and he's met immediately in the backfield. They might have backed him up a little bit.
You saw Ramirez take on 2 and then a chip from a third guard there. Still held his ground, maintained the line of scrimmage, and then I believe a couple of the linebackers got in there, and David Val got in there to finish off that play.
Ramirez about as big as a house, so you're going to have to bring more than 3 Rebels to get him out of the way. So it's 2nd down. 2nd down and 11 for the Rebels. Got a naked bootleg over here into the flats, and it's going to be completed, but it is going to be short of the 1st down.
Really testing the edges of Har-Ber's defense here. We've seen some speed sweeps to the outside, medium length routes thrown to the outside, trying to spread out some of that size that Har-Ber has in the middle, maybe carve up some running lanes on the inside for these backs.
So 3 minutes, 55 seconds to go here in the first quarter. We're still 0-0 here, but the Rebels have the ball. It's 3rd down and 5. And we have a receiver that's a little top heavy, fell forward there. So we're going to back him
season
up.
for him.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to back up the Rebels here and try this again.
We see the Rebels very early on putting themselves in bad positions on 3rd down that's leading to turnovers. So if they are going to extend drives and keep drives alive, they're going to have to minimize 3rd down penalties that make it difficult for them to reach the sticks.
3rd down and 9 for the Rebels. They have the ball on the 9-yard line. We've got a man out here in the flats. He's going to get maybe 2 yards on the play. That's going to bring up 4th down, and quite confident in saying the punting team.
Naseli in there on the tackle, making sure he got wrapped up and taken down. He wasn't going anywhere after contact was made.
So 3:39 on the clock. We are still scoreless here, which is a bit of a surprise. 4th down, and it looks like about 7. Their punter is deep in their end zone.
Very high punt.
And looks like it's out of bounds. So the Wildcats will get the ball on the 44-yard line. It's great field position for the Wildcats.
This punter, Mac Moody for the Rebels, I was watching him punt early in pregame, and he was standing back in his own end zone when there was nobody rushing him and giving a kick, incredible hang time, and kicking it 40 to 50 yards. Haven't seen that out of him yet, and I think he's getting a little nervous with the pressure that the Wildcats are bringing around the edge on these punts.
So Chandler back at shotgun. He's going to fake the handoff to Hannon. He's going to roll to the right-hand side. Looking for a guy, has Blackston open. Blackston completes it for 20 yards. He's got enough for a 1st down and down to the 19.
Blackston, a really big slot receiver, possession receiver. That's who you want to find when you have a guys in traffic, because you can count on him to come down with it. The other guy, which you guys saw last week in Fayetteville, that you can count on coming down with it, is Luke Hannon. Excellent slot receiver, uses that size to his advantage, much like Blackston does.
Chandler back at shotgun. He's going to hand it off to Hannon. Hannon, as usual, shoots forward for about 4 yards. That is going to bring up 2nd down and a long 6.
And you have to know that opposing coaches know at this point, if you're going to be successful on defense against Har-Ber, you have to stop number 34.
So Chandler back at shotgun. Twin split to the top of your screen. Trey Smith to the bottom. Hannon rolls out here to the flat, and Chandler rolls to the right. He's going to keep it. He's got enough for a 1st down. He's looking for the end zone, and he is in untouched. He goes in from the 23-yard line, and I don't even think he was even a quarter speed.
It wasn't, and I don't think the backs for Southside believed he was going to run it because they just turned their heads and watched him run by.
Yeah, well, they had a great seat. So front row seat to one of the great quarterbacks in the 7A West.
Like I saw the corner point at the safety, and he's like, that one's yours.
Yep, throwing out lookout tackles. So Har-Ber lines up for the PAT. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So the Wildcats will strike first tonight, 7-0 over the Southside Rebels.
And that touchdown there brought to you by Catering Unlimited and Tire Tracks. Thank you very much for sponsoring this broadcast, allowing the fans that didn't make the 45-minute drive down here to Fort Smith able to watch the game and support these guys and all the work that they put in.
I think we made it in 30, didn't we?
Yeah, but you speed, so.
2 minutes, 32 seconds left to go in the first quarter, and it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Williams and the Southside Rebels draw up for an answer to the Wildcats.
With the potency that the Wildcats have on offense, they are not a team that you want to be put in a hole against. They have the ability to strike quickly, but where they're great at, thanks to their run game, is stretching clock. Burning clock, just running 4 or 5 yards at a time with Luke Hannon, and really making it difficult to erase a deficit. And so if the Rebels are going to be successful, they need to put together some kind of points on this drive.
So Zamumbo kicks the ball deep into the end zone, so that's going to be a touchback for the Rebels. So they'll have the ball 1st and 10 on the 20.
It's the same kicker that kicked a 42-yard field goal against Bentonville. Obviously has the leg there, put it out of the back of the end zone. Not much breeze helping him either. Obviously has the leg to get it almost anywhere on the field.
So the Rebels come to the line of scrimmage. They got twins stacked to the bottom of your screen, a single setback and a single split to the right. Johnson drops, throws across the middle. Austin Henderson is going to make the tackle.
It was Peyton Kofer on the tackle. Austin Henderson was backing him up behind him, making sure that he didn't break the arm tackle of Peyton Kofer.
So that's 1st and 10 for the Rebels. They have the ball on the 36-yard line. There's 2:16 left on the clock. It continues to run.
In the first quarter.
Twin split to the bottom of your screen. Johnson's going to hand it off up the middle, and he's going to be met by everybody but 2 of the Wildcat defense.
Number 32, Kobe Rogers on the carry. Southside not a team known for their rushing attack. I think their top 2 leading rushers, not counting their quarterback, have about 700 yards combined. Putting that into Luke Hannon's perspective of 1,100 yards, not much to deal with, or not much help for their passing game. So they're going to need to get that going tonight.
2nd and 8 for the Rebels. Naked bootleg to this side. He throws deep as soon as he turns around. He sees Sam Hall there. Or is that? I believe that's David Val, actually.
Yep, that would be David Val coming off the edge. Give him a nice little shove just to let him know he was there. And I'll tell you, David Val's one of those players that if you get hit one time, you're always looking for 95 on the field for the rest of the game, which is detrimental to a quarterback when he's thinking about defensive players and not his receivers.
You're looking for 95 and the bus that just hit him. 1 minute, 26 seconds left to go in the first quarter here. We're 3rd down and 7 for the Rebels. Johnson drops back, throws to the left. He's got enough for a 1st down.
Again, like we talked about earlier, seeing him be very successful on those mid-length routes. These Har-Ber secondary is playing a little bit off of those routes. I think anticipating maybe an out and up or a hitch and go. And so I don't know if it's a mix of the coaches making adjustments to let the corners play up more on those routes or how they're going to fix that. But you can't allow them to get 10 to 15 yards of reception.
So the same naked bootleg. Johnson throws it deep, and he has a man open, but it is incomplete. Not sure how that guy was as open as he was.
I'm not sure either. David Val came free again and put pressure on him, which forced the errant throw. Looks like a busted coverage over on the far side of the field.
So that's 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels. There's 57 seconds left to go in the first quarter here. Twin split to the bottom of your screen, and we have a little bit of a change of formation where we're going to trips right. Quarterback keeps it, and he's going to be tackled for about a 4-yard gain.
Once again there, you saw David Val stretching that play. He wasn't in on the tackle, but he did his job by giving the linebackers and the corner time to squeeze in and make sure there wasn't a lot of room for a shifty Johnson to try to get through that. A play brought to you by the defensive end, even though he didn't get his name called on the PA.
Trips to the top of your screen, Johnson is shotgun. We're going to change the play at the line of scrimmage here. Fakes the handoff, throws it across the middle, and he is overthrown by about 10 yards. 14 seconds left to go here in the first quarter.
I have a correction. That was not David Val as he came out. That was number 96, Riley Bean.
So it looks like Southside's going to bring their punting unit onto the field. It's 4th and 7 for the Rebels. The ball's on the 50-yard line. And his kick is going to be down about the 9-yard line. So the Wildcats will have the ball. 1st and 10 from the 9 with 5 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, and one thing, even though the Southside Rebels have not put any points on the board yet, one thing they've done very well is make sure that they're winning the field position battle as far as making Har-Ber drive 80 yards to get points. And so that really helps out their defense and really gives them a chance to try to stop Har-Ber's attack. They just haven't proven that they can do it yet.
So Chandler back at shotgun. Nope, he's going to be under center. He's going to hand it off to Hannon. Hannon around the right-hand side. He's going to get about a yard.
That's the end of the first quarter there. Not often that you get to see Fuller Chandler go under center.
Nope, that wasn't usual. So at the end of the first quarter, the Wildcats 7, the Fort Smith Southside Rebels 0. And it's been a bit of a ball game so far.
It has. The Rebels have done a very good job, like I said earlier, making Har-Ber drive for points. Har-Ber's defense has given up some yards, but they've still put the Rebels in a position that they have to punt deep into Har-Ber territory in order to do that. Excellent special teams by Southside, and it's part of the reason they're only losing by 7 points right now. Had they lost that field position battle, you could see the Wildcats with potentially 14 points right now. So really for Southside, special teams keeping them in the game.
So the Wildcats will have the ball on the 15-yard line. It's 2nd down and 8 for the Wildcats.
30 seconds remaining. All money donated tonight will be given directly to Arkansas Children's Hospital. All donations are appreciated. No donation is too small, and no donation is too large.
Also maybe important to mention the line that was identified by Hootens was Har-Ber by 7, and the score identified by the Democrat Gazette was 42 to 28.
Chandler downfield deep, wide open, and that's a touchdown. Har-Ber Wildcats, 85 yards on the pass play.
Tyler Blackston showing that he is not just a possession receiver, but he also has breakaway speed. That's really all you can ask for out of your offense right there. Quick strike, and now it's a 14-point game.
Great completion by Blackston, and as soon as he caught it, he just kicked it in gear and was gone.
That's going to put the Wildcats up over 100 yards passing now, showing that they're not just one-dimensional like some people thought with Luke Hannon last week. Fuller Chandler is a fantastic quarterback and has the ability to throw deep balls on the money. Really putting on a clinic there.
So the kick is up. The kick is good. So that'll give the Wildcats 14 with 11 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the second quarter.
And let's talk a little bit about the offensive line, too, what they've done. Luke Hannon still has positive rushing yards, which means that despite the Rebels keying on Luke Hannon in the run game, the offensive line is still keeping players off of him, keeping running lanes open. That pass right there was that time that Fuller Chandler had was brought to you by the offensive line. Created a perfect pocket for him to sit tight in, was able to shift his weight from foot to foot, really put his entire body into that throw and deliver that pass right on the money. That play would not have happened if he was under pressure. Offensive line doing a great job tonight.
So Zimumbo set to kick for Har-Ber. So Zimumbo's kick is going to be into the end zone for a touchback, which is pretty much every kick he kicks. Fantastic kicker for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you how strong of a leg that he has. There's very little wind tonight, and so kicking either way, he's putting it into the end zone, letting you know that he has a big-time leg.
So the Rebels will have the ball 1st and 10 from the 20. There's 11 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the second quarter. And the Rebels trail 14-0.
The Rebels aren't careful. They're going to find themselves in a hole too deep to dig themselves out of.
So Johnson's going to keep it up the middle, and big boy Ramirez there on the tackle.
I'll tell you right now, that is not a guy that you want falling on top of you if you're a quarterback.
It's baffling to me how the quarterback keeps running the ball. I mean, Har-Ber is notorious for taking quarterbacks out of the game.
They've done it twice already this year.
Against nationally ranked teams. Webb City, Kansas City Rockhurst. I mean, those aren't just, give me layups. So Johnson back at shotgun. Sends a man in motion. He's going to fake the handoff. The pass is deflected by Naseli. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down for the Rebels.
Great job getting his hands up there. Didn't jump. Coaches teach you not to jump when you're approaching a quarterback because a lot of times a quarterback will use a pump fake to create separation. They coached that coming into this week with a quarterback that can run. Don't leave your feet and make sure that if he does pump fake, you're still there to make the tackle.
11 minutes, 10 seconds left to go in the half. And the Rebels have trips to the bottom of the screen. Johnson looks to the right. He does not have a guy open. Yep, he does. He has a completion there. That's enough for a 1st down.
Brighton Cook showing a little bit of his closing speed, making the receiver pay for catching the football. That's what you want to see out of young corners. So if they don't play the ball, make sure that you play the receiver exceptionally well. And then their job is to separate the receiver from the football.
So we have twin split to the top of the screen. Johnson's going to hand it off up the middle. And Sam Hall has a little message for him.
Austin Henderson coming in there on cleanup. Love seeing a safety come all the way up to make a play down on the line of scrimmage, help out his teammates finish a tackle.
So that's going to bring up 2nd down and 10. Looks like Robertson was on the play as well, getting up from the bottom of the pile, which is not unusual for Jake.
He does lead this defense in tackles. He's done an excellent job this year of making sure that he's in almost every single play.
2nd down and 10. Going to flip the tight end to the other side of the screen, bring a man in motion. And we have the naked bootleg again. And that is going to be incomplete. Austin Henderson all over the pass coverage there.
Yeah, that play really didn't matter except for stopping the clock. Yardage was about the same either way. It's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
I really think that the guy saved his own life by laying on the ground for that completion because Austin Henderson was bringing it. 10 minutes, 2 seconds left to go in the half, and the Wildcats still lead 14-0. It's 3rd down and 10. Johnson back at shotgun. Trips to the top of your screen. is going to be completed, but it is short of the first down, so that's going to be about 9 yards on the play. So that's going to bring up 4th down and 1 for the Rebels.
Went down a little bit too quick here. If I'm Har-Ber being up by 14 points, I do not believe the Rebels will punt it to me and give me another chance to score. Be very alert here for a fake punt.
Well, they've done a great job of pinning them back in the back of the field, so
Trey Smith just gets folded over there by a couple defenders.
So they're going to have the ball 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line.
Yeah, and I was wrong there. Southside apparently feels like that their defense can come out and stop them, and they've, like we talked about earlier, they've done a very good job of pinning Har-Ber's offense deep, giving their defense room to work with and experiment. Very good coaching staff over here by Southside. They always figure things out. They always make adjustments. That punt there probably brought to you by a defensive coordinator saying, give me some room to work with. I think I have something.
Chandler back at shotgun. He looks deep, throws deep. He has, and we have pass interference there. Looks like we have a push off from Trey Smith.
They're spotting the football, though,
which is unusual. It is pushing off on defense.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Pass interference on the defense. It'll be declined, obviously.
That is a huge pass play.
Was that Trey Smith on the reception?
Yep. It's a 50-yard pass play.
I think Trey, from my perspective here, I think Trey Smith might have gotten away with one there, but obviously we'll take the yards, set us up in a great position to put more points on the board.
So 9 minutes, 10 seconds left to go on the clock. The Wildcats will have the ball 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line. Chandler back at shotgun. Twin split to the right or the bottom of your screen. Trey Smith to the top. Hannon steps up to do some blocking. We have Blackston deep, but it's just a touch overthrown.
Just a little bit. But good on Fuller Chandler for overthrowing that ball, putting it in a place that only his receiver could possibly come down with it. Don't underthrow it, don't throw a pick, and they have 3 more downs to move the chains.
Chandler back at shotgun, 2nd and 10 for the Wildcats. Hands it off to the Hannon Express. And he's going to be forward for about 3 yards. Yeah, looks like they're going to give him a kind of a weak spot here. So he looks like he's going to get about a yard. So that's going to bring up 3rd down and 9. Twin split to the top of your screen, twin to the bottom. Kunkel, your lone setback, as Chandler's back at shotgun. Throws it deep. Blackston's in the end zone. Same pass play. Touchdown, Wildcats.
Yeah, and he wasn't going to misthrow that ball again. He had Blackston open, and we knew they were going to come back to that play. It was only a matter of time. That time, Fuller Chandler hit right on the money, and Blackston came open again. It's a recipe for points every single time.
So with 8 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the first half of the ball game, the Wildcats are up 20, and they're getting ready to tack on another one.
Really coming out, and I think Har-Ber's played so many close games with Southside. They're going to try to put a decent cushion against Southside before they take the foot off the gas, clearly proving early on that they are the superior team.
So the kick is up, and the kick is good. So the Wildcats 21, the Southside Rebels 0. As we go halfway through the second quarter. Looks like the Wildcats have found their rhythm, Blake.
They have, and I think they found it a little bit earlier on in the season. We talked about that very early on in the season, like game 1, game 2, that if Har-Ber was going to be successful, they had to find their groove. They had to find their rhythm. And we saw them do that really right after their first loss, their very first game to Webb City season opener. From that game on, they've looked like they've only gotten better every single week. And going from the beginning of the season in August to people considered a dark horse and afterthought for a conference championship or a state title, now they are most certainly in the mix, having knocked off Fayetteville and the two-time defending state champions Bentonville. They are most definitely in the minds of everybody that's thinking about November and December football.
So Zamumbo back to kick, and in typical fashion usually puts it out of the end zone. And this one's no different. So the Rebels will have the ball. 1st and 10 from the 20. With 8 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the half.
You used to love getting in games like this as a player. You go up by 3 touchdowns, and then when you come out there on defense, your goal becomes pitching the shutout. At that point, it's about pride. You want to keep them off the scoreboard completely in their home stadium. Really gives them bragging rights that they were able to do that.
So Johnson back at shotguns. We have trips to the bottom of your screen. Johnson drops back. Doesn't see. And that is incomplete.
Blaze Brothers all over the receiver, but waited to make contact till right when the ball got there. No pass interference call, just excellent coverage.
So 8 minutes, 7 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Wildcats lead 21-0. And it's 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels.
8 minutes, 7 seconds left in the half. Blaze Brothers with his second great play in a row there. Covering receivers downfield and setting the edge on containment there, making sure the jet sweep didn't go anywhere. Also great flow from the inside there. David Val stretching the play. And Robertson coming over the top to really just give a wall on that line. There was nowhere to run.
Yeah, it is unusual to get outside of this Har-Ber defense. That's 3rd down, and it looks like about 12 yards. 7:30 on the clock. It continues to run. Johnson drops back for a pass, looks across the middle, and I'm not even sure why the receiver didn't try for that. I mean, it was a good pass, good position, and he just didn't bring his arms to the pass, I guess.
Yeah, that's Randy Rainwater there. There's the intended receiver. It's the number 2 target for Johnson. Usually not the deep threat, though.
Well, it was just unusual. He didn't even try for it. It looks like he just ran to it and then just didn't stick his arms out. 7 minutes, 23 seconds left to go in the quarter. The punting team is on as it's 4th down and 12.
The score update from Springdale. Northside 10, Springdale 0 at Springdale's homecoming.
It's actually, the Bulldogs just scored. It's 10 up. So the Wildcats will have the ball with 7 minutes, 10 seconds left in the second quarter. And they're going to have the ball, it looks like, on the 36-yard line. And that is just one play away from a touchdown so far tonight.
With the way Fuller Chandler's been throwing the ball tonight, he's proven he can score from anywhere on the field. You cannot rest if you're this defense.
So Chandler hands it off to Hannon up the middle. Hannon's going to get about 3 yards.
You know, talking about this, we just mentioned the Northside Springdale game. Very important game for our crosstown friends of Bulldogs. They have playoff implications on the line. They have to win one more game this season to make the playoffs. And, you know, any other time that we're not playing them, we want them to do well.
Absolutely. Great tradition, great legacy there at Bulldogs. And they're doing a great job rebuilding. Coach Clark is doing a fantastic job. A lot of young players there. We're excited and we're watching as we're watching the Wildcats here.
And speaking of young players, I think that's what Wildcat fans have to be excited about this team too. A lot of sophomores starting on defense, sophomores contributing on offense. They have a lot of things to look forward to these next coming seasons, especially with how well that they've played in big-time games this season.
3rd down and 7 for the Wildcats. 6 minutes, 18 seconds left to go on the clock. And it looks like they're going to take a timeout. So we're going to take the timeout with them. You're watching Wildcat football on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Olive Garden's Buy One, Take One is back, but not for long. Starting at $12.99. Join us tonight for your choice of irresistible entrees, like rich and creamy smoked mozzarella chicken bursting with Italian cheese and sun-dried tomatoes, plus unlimited garden salad and warm breadsticks. Then take home another entree free, like fettuccine Alfredo. It's 2 delicious nights of togetherness for one low price. Buy one, take one, starting at $12.99. Olive Garden, we're all family here. Now order Olive Garden to go online.
Welcome back to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats are leading the Southside Rebels 21-0. This is a little bit like I expected, Blake. I mean, it started off a little bit slow, so I was a little nervous, but this is typical Wildcat football.
You know, and as announcers, you want to come out and you set up the fans for an exciting game. You want to basically prepare them for what you hope to be the worst, but this is what you always like to see.
So Chandler's going to roll to the right. He's looking for a guy. He's going to throw it out of bounds. Great coverage by the Southside Rebels.
Veteran decision there by Fuller Chandler. Stretching the play, letting his receivers have an opportunity to get open, and then when nobody does, just throwing it away and not taking the sack.
That is going to bring the punting unit on. It's 4th down and 8. Trey Smith back for the punting duties. Been doing a terrific job this year punting. Great snap this time. Kick is up. And it's going to be fielded about the 35-yard line. And he's going to be dropped on the 33.
Chase Anderson and Noah Hayward on the tackle, I believe. Really did a great job of not going for the stick hit, corralling him, and both of them taking him down at the same time. Just textbook punt coverage right there.
So 5 minutes, 58 seconds left to go in the second quarter. The Rebels will have the ball 1st and 10 from the 35. So we have twin split to the top of your screen. Johnson takes the snap. He's going to hand it off up the middle. That's to Rogers. Rogers is going to be met at the line of scrimmage by David Val, welcoming to the Wildcat defense.
This defensive line has done a phenomenal job all year of not only holding their ground but forcing plays. In this style of defense, their primary job is to keep the linebackers free of blocks. They've not only done that, but they've gone above and beyond and started making plays at the line of scrimmage.
It's actually Bean on the tackle. Val might be at the concession stand getting a hot dog.
Ball came out there. They're going to lose a few yards on the fumble.
Here comes Big David Val back in the ball game. It's 3rd down now for the Rebels. 3rd down and about 5.
It was Evan Simpson there on the reception and the fumble. Usually their deep threat guy, averaging about 20 yards per reception. Always a threat to take it to the house. Be able to give him a little bit of cushion in scenarios like this.
Johnson back at shotgun. Split to the top of your screen. He's going to roll to your right, throw to the right.
Incomplete.
Incomplete.
The referee coming in from the top had a really good look at it. We're going to defer to his judgment on that.
So that's going to bring a 4th down and 5 for the Rebels. They're going to bring out their punting team.
Rebels really just having a hard time getting anything going on offense. They're showing some sparks of brilliance, and then it quickly gets snuffed out by just a relentless Har-Ber defense.
That is probably a testament to Coach Fimple and the defensive coaches that, getting these guys prepared.
Oh, no. It's not going to matter what this return looks like because the kicker was roughed. That flag will come out every time. Also a phenomenal acting job there, making sure he hit the ground pretty hard. That penalty is going to be a 15-yarder and enough to give him the 1st down.
believe that was Naseli on the roughing the punter.
It was.
I'm sure the coach has a little bit of advice for him when he gets to the sideline.
You just don't do that. It's understandable. You try not to, but it's understandable if you rough the kicker or the punter diving for the ball. Because if you touch the ball, it doesn't matter. But that one was just a shoulder pad to shoulder pad. There's really no reason for that.
So the Rebels have the ball 1st and 10 from the 45. Johnson drops back, looks to the right. He's scrambling. He's got a man open. It's completed for a first down, plus about 4 more on top of that. And there's a little bit of a momentum shift here from that penalty.
Yeah, they have to take momentum from that. One of the things they haven't been doing this game is capitalizing on momentum. So go back to what they've been doing well, those medium routes where the receiver can find open guys in the holes of the coverage. Did a great job evading a tackle there from Chase Anderson and Naseli, and found an open spot.
Cooper throws it across the middle. He's going to be dropped for about 7 yards.
Another mid-range pass there.
4 minutes left to go. The clock continues to run here at the second quarter.
Bringing in a fresh set on the defensive line here.
2nd down and 4 for the Rebels. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Johnson's going to keep it up the middle. And he is close to the first down. Looks like he's got enough for a first down.
You got to think there that offensive coordinator, head coach for Southside saw the defensive line substitution there and went with the quarterback scramble to try to squeeze a few extra yards out of it. Obviously worked out well for them.
So 1st and 10 for the Rebels. The ball is on the 30-yard line. 3 minutes 29 on the clock. It continues to drop. Trips to the top of your screen. Johnson is going to fake the handoff, bootleg to the right, and throw back across his body, and it is incomplete.
Chase Anderson all up in Johnson's face, all up in Cooper Johnson's face there. Really putting good pressure on him, and Cooper Johnson has not been able to throw the ball well when he's under pressure, and I assume that's been a problem for him all season. He has less than a 60% completion rate. Looks like when he gets any kind of pressure, he throws the ball anywhere.
Jake Robertson doing a great job on the pass coverage there. So there's 3 minutes and 16 on the clock. That's 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels. The ball is on the 30-yard line. A little bit of a spread formation here. Cooper's going to Johnson's going to keep it, and he's going to be punished by Sam Hall.
David Vowell also in there on the tackle. I believe Chase Anderson as well. Defensive line and 1 or 2 linebackers each play have just been converging on those inside runs. And like you said, just punishing the ball carrier, making him regret ever taking it into the middle of that Wildcat defense.
Trips to the top of your screen. Johnson's back at shotgun. He's trying to find, and he gets smashed.
Chase Anderson finished up by David Vowell. That initial blow, though, by Chase Anderson.
Great stick by Anderson.
Just great defense right there. Great pressure. That's all you can ask for out of your defensive line and Chase Anderson, your linebacker.
So that's going to bring a 4th down and about 15-16. 2 minutes, 6 seconds on the clock. I believe the Rebels just want to get out of this half.
They were starting to put something together there, but you see them going for it here on 4th and very long. Just play the sticks deep.
I think they're going to try to draw them off sides, kill some more time on the clock, and that is going to bring us to a timeout. So you're watching Wildcat football on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Chevrolet. You've heard me say we have a better way to buy your new Chevy. If you've not been here to find out what that means, I want to invite you to come see us. You'll love the way we do business. And you can shop our great selection of the North American Truck of the Year, the Chevy Silverado, the V8 fuel economy of any full-size truck. Family owned, customer friendly, Everett Chevrolet in Springdale, I-49 at Elm Springs Road.
Welcome back here to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats are leading the Southside Rebels 21-0. 1 minute, 51 seconds left to go in the clock.
They're out on about the 35-yard line here. In high school football, it's really no man's land. There's not a lot of kickers that can hit that consistently. So, interesting call coming up here from Southside.
So the Rebels come to the line of scrimmage, and they are going to go for it. Johnson drops back.
All kinds of pressure.
And that is going to be thrown out of bounds and complete.
Once again, a terrible throw under pressure. If they're going to have any kind of chance with the pressure that Har-Ber's defensive line and linebackers are bringing, he's going to have to learn how to plant his feet and throw the football, something he has not shown the ability to do tonight.
So a minute 44 left to go in the half. The Wildcats come back on the field on offense, and I'd like to see him shoot for the end zone right off the bat.
Something Coach Wood likes to do, and first time he might have a shot at doing that on the very first play, put in a little bit better field position here by a turnover on downs.
Chandler hands it off to Hannon. Hannon bounces to the left side. He's got a lot of room. We got some laundry on the field, though.
A little Madden-esque spin move there at the end.
I believe that was isn't that the square?
That's the B button.
The B button. So we got a penalty on Har-Ber, which isn't going to matter a whole lot because I'm pretty sure we're going to run the same play and do it again. 1 minute, 37 seconds left to go in the half, and it is going to be 15 yards for a first down.
At the 29-yard line, it'll bring up second down. Check that, first down at 17.
Chandler rolls left, throws deep. Trey Smith is...
That's what happens when you try to catch the football with one hand, folks. Kids at home, do not try to do that on defense.
He was wide open. The Southside defensive back was wide open, and he was standing there waiting for it and tried to catch it with one hand.
You know, there's a chance that's why he plays defense, but there's also an aspect of just use two hands, man.
Yep. And you ball players playing baseball, make sure you call it. So minute 22 left to go in the half.
I assume that's what he was using his other hand for, was to wave off the other defenders.
It was a fair catch.
Yeah.
Second down and 17 for the Wildcats. Hannon met immediately at the line of scrimmage. He is not going to get any yardage, which that is probably the first time this year I've said that.
Yeah, he's had a few plays that he's been stalled at the line of scrimmage, and don't take that away from him as a ball carrier. That's just a product of a defense that has been keying on the run this entire first half. Part of the reason that the pass game's been so effective for Har-Ber, they're having to stack guys in the box and key on the running back in order to stop him. You have receivers running open down the field. If they're going to try to balance that out at the half, look for Luke Hannon to come out and have another monster half like we've seen him do in the past.
Absolutely. Third down and 18 now for the Wildcats. Wildcats present in spread formation. Chandler back a shotgun. And he is scrambling.
Oh, my goodness.
He's going to be dropped for a big loss.
He might as well have been waving a red cape out there.
So we're going to take a Southside timeout. Yes, we are. So with 24 seconds left to go in the first half, Wildcats lead 21-0 over the Southside Rebels. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching Wildcat Football on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Hometown. That word still means something here. It means we're neighbors. We do the right thing. We care about your family. And you deserve the very best every time you walk in the front door. Harps. Hometown fresh.
Welcome back to Southside High School. 24 seconds left on the clock. The Har-Ber has their punt team on. Trey Smith's got the punt duties. And they brought the rush, but Trey Smith gets the 50-yard kickoff.
Yeah, good high kick there by Trey Smith coming out. He wanted to be sure. He had a lot of pressure in his face, and if he kicked that any lower of a trajectory, it might have been a block and a fumble recovery for a blocked punt and recovery for Southside, trying to get them aboard. This extra field they have to work with, Har-Ber's defense only has to hold them off for 19 seconds.
The Rebels have no timeouts left. There's 19 seconds left. I think we're just going to look at some shots down at the
And keep your eye on Evan Simpson here, number 19 on the close side. He's their deep guy.
Cooper looks across the middle. It's completed for a first down, but he does not get to the sideline, so he's going to get down to the 29-yard line. There's 12 seconds left, and it's going to stop for them to move the chains.
Sorry, 19 is Randy Rainwater. Number 82 was Simpson on the reception that you just saw.
Southside immediately ready to snap, and they're going to down the ball. So, with 10 seconds left to go on the clock, it's 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels.
We're going to see probably one of two plays here. We're going to see a deep fade route into the end zone where they try to outrun, probably with Simpson here, number 82, or we're going to see an out route, which I'm not positive about because they have 10 seconds left, no timeouts, but the quarterback hasn't been throwing those well under pressure, so he's got to at least get a touchdown or get the ball out of bounds.
Trips to the right. Cooper drops back. Ton of pressure. He's just going to fling it out of bounds. Ramirez wrapping him up and rolling him up like a burrito. But I believe he got the pass off just in time to avoid the loss. It's 5 seconds left to go on the clock.
I can tell you as an ex-defensive lineman, those men have a lot of experience with burritos.
It's 3rd down and 10. Cooper drops back, rolls to the right.
Clock at 0.
It is incomplete. That was close. So that'll take us into the halftime here at Southside Stadium in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats lead 21-0. We'll be back right after this. You're watching Wildcat Sports on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Welcome home to Lindsay Living. From value-packed basic apartments with appliances and washers and dryers to resort-style apartment living on golf courses with fabulous amenities, you'll love where you live and play. Visit lindsaymanagement.com to apply online and see photos, rates, and floor plans for all locations we manage throughout Arkansas and in surrounding states.
First Security is here. Only here. So that means we're here, here, and here. Even here. And definitely here. Because here is where we want to be for you. First Security Bank. Only in Arkansas.
Hello, I'm Michael Flowers.
And I'm Joanne Bauer.
YouthBridge is proud to partner with Fox 24 News to help stop bullying.
We want to stop this problem at its source, Michael, and that is why we asked classrooms throughout the region to produce a 20-second video with an anti-bullying message.
Voting will then be open to the public, and the winning classroom will win a $500 gift card presented by YouthBridge. Go to NWA homepage, click on contest, and enter your video on the anti-bullying page.
YouthBridge and Fox 24 News thank area schools for their support in bringing anti-bullying awareness to our area.
The band is under the direction of Jeremy Ford, C.J. Morris, Chris Church, Omar Alonzo, and April Shelby, and is led on the field by drum majors Madison McKim, Emily Potts, and Taylor Johnson. Our color guard is coordinated by Danny Darrow. A composition inspired by Roman mythology by renowned composer Gustav Holst. Tonight we will perform Mars, the bringer of war, Venus, the goddess of beauty, and Jupiter, the king of the gods. And now, taking pride in excellence, the Springdale Har-Ber High School Wildcat Marching Band.
The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is this program that we are pushing through the schools to increase awareness of bullying in the schools, not just for those who are bullied, but for the bullies. The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is symbolized in these orange wristbands, and kids can wear them proudly and say that they're going to stand up to bullies, and they're going to seek assistance, they're going to seek help, they're going to talk to parents and their teachers to let them know that either they're being victimized by bullies or their friends are being victimized by bullies. These kids are wanting to go to school to get an education. They want to hang out with their friends, and they want to feel safe when they go to school. And when they're having challenges with their peers, we need to make sure that not only are the kids who are victims of bullying taken care of, but also to try to see what things that the bullies are needing as far as like social skills training or mentoring or any kind of help or understanding as to what's going on with them. And so with the Youth Bridge Bully Buster campaign, we hope to bring awareness and action to bullying in our school systems.
This is Jack. And this
I am starving!
is Jack's appetite. It's never satisfied.
I'm hungry. Seriously, dude? What?
Then Jack's mom started serving Tyson Anytizer snacks with all white meat and lots of protein. They're the only snacks that make Jack's appetite disappear. Tyson Anytizer snacks. Consider snacking solved.
Olive Garden's Buy One, Take One is back, but not for long. Starting at $12.99. Join us tonight for your choice of irresistible entrees, like rich and creamy smoked mozzarella chicken bursting with Italian cheese and sun-dried tomatoes, plus unlimited garden salad and warm breadsticks. Then take home another entree free, like fettuccine Alfredo. It's 2 delicious nights of togetherness for one low price. Buy one, take one, starting at $12.99. Olive Garden, we're all family here. Now order Olive Garden to go online.
Do you need new tires? Do you want a price match guarantee? Do you want to wait in a newly renovated waiting room? Do you want tire services at any time with no appointment? Then Tire Tracks is the place for you. With our price match guarantee and the largest inventory of new and used tires in the area, we have tires for every budget. Tire Tracks, Northwest Arkansas's largest independent tire dealer.
Hi, I'm Susie Everett with Everett Chevrolet. You've heard me say we have a better way to buy your new Chevy. If you've not been here to find out what that means, I want to invite you to come see us. You'll love the way we do business. And you can shop our great selection of the North American Truck of the Year, the Chevy Silverado, with the best V8 fuel economy of any full-size truck. Family owned, customer friendly, Everett Chevrolet in Springdale, I-49 at Elm Springs Road.
Welcome home to Lindsay Living. From value-packed basic apartments with appliances and washers and dryers to resort-style apartment living on golf courses with fabulous amenities, you'll love where you live and play. Visit lindsaymanagement.com to apply online and see photos, rates, and floor plans for all locations we manage throughout Arkansas and in surrounding states.
The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is this program that we are pushing through the schools to increase awareness of bullying in the schools, not just for those who are bullied, but for the bullies. The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is symbolized in these orange wristbands, and kids can wear them proudly and say that they're going to stand up to bullies, and they're going to seek assistance, they're going to seek help, they're going to talk to parents and their teachers to let them know that either they're being victimized by bullies or their friends are being victimized by bullies. These kids are wanting to go to school to get an education. They want to hang out with their friends, and they want to feel safe when they go to school. And when they're having challenges with their peers, we need to make sure that not only are the kids who are victims of bullying taken care of, but also to try to see what things that the bullies are needing as far as like social skills training or mentoring or any kind of help or understanding as to what's going on with them. Because sometimes it's not that they have an innate meanness to them. And one of the things that we have to do is go in, and sometimes it's a family intervention, and we can meet with the moms and the dads or the guardians or anybody else who's interacting with the kid who is having these challenging behaviors, and just put some things in place and to redirect them in order to so they can be successful in the community and in the schools. YouthBridge has clinicians on staff that are experts in working with families that have these types of challenges, from mental health issues to mental illness issues. We have licensed professional counselors, we have mental health paraprofessionals, case managers, drug counselors that can get involved in a child's life to try to improve their situation. And if the family is needing more eyes and ears to be advocates for them, then YouthBridge has a team that can do that. And so with the YouthBridge Bully Buster campaign, we hope to bring awareness and action to bullying in our school systems.
Welcome back to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats lead the Southside Rebels 21-0 as we prepare to kick off the second half of tonight's contest. Blake, how's the first half of the game gone?
Well, you can see just in like the offensive spread, just a couple of stats for you. Har-Ber's put up 232 yards of offense in the first half, well on their clip to putting up 400 plus. The Rebels put up only 111 yards. You see 98 of those being pass yards and 13 of those being rush yards. Clearly getting nothing going on the rush play. Har-Ber, conversely, putting up 191 passing yards, 41 rushing yards. 23 of those being Fuller Chandler down there scoring the touchdown, going untouched. So I think the focus this possession, or this opening possession for Har-Ber's offense, or really this entire half, is going to be getting both the run and the pass game activated. Letting Luke Hannon do what Luke Hannon does, rush the ball at will, get 6-7 yards of carry, and then let Fuller Chandler do what he's been doing the entire first half as well. Throwing the ball well down the field, hitting Tyler Blackston, hitting Trey Smith, keep scoring touchdowns. They have a 21-point advantage in this game. It's their game to lose. They just have to keep the gas pedal down and call it a night and head back to Springdale.
So I know a lot of Springdale fans are listening to the broadcast, and at halftime up at Springdale, the Bulldogs lead the Northside Grizzlies 17-10.
Yeah, very big game for them. They're really showing out. They had a special homecoming presentation at halftime with Gus Malzahn, head coach for Auburn, and the rest of the 2005 Springdale team.
So the Rebels take the ball from the 1 off the kickoff. They're going to get to the 25, maybe the 24-yard line.
Falcon Smith on the return there, really showing his leg strength. Carried a couple Har-Ber kick coverage guys with him. Wasn't able to break it loose.
So that's going to give the Rebels the ball, 1st and 10. That is going to be on the 25-yard line. This is a big possession here for the Rebels. You know, if they're going to have any kind of momentum here in the second half, they've got to do it now to set the tempo.
Har-Ber's defense still trying to pitch that shutout.
Johnson drops back. He's got a man downfield. It's going to be complete for a first down.
Peyton Cofer tracks down Evan Simpson from the backside there, preventing a touchdown run, one broken tackle, and that could have been a very dangerous play. Good job tracking him down and making sure there was no room to run.
So the Rebels will have the ball on the 49, 1st and 10. Johnson takes the snap, hands it off up the middle. It's like Rogers going to bounce out to the right-hand side. He's got enough for a first down. He's going to tack on about 5 more on top of that.
Yeah, Rogers finding a little bit of rushing room there, despite only having 13 yards rushing in the entire first half. They almost doubled that on this drive alone, showing they made some adjustments at halftime to try to support their run game.
1st and 10 for the Rebels. The ball is on the 37-yard line. Johnson bobbles the snap. He's looking to the right. He has
intercepted by Austin Henderson.
Henderson goes to the right-hand side. He's got a little bit of room. He jukes and jobs. He's still on his feet. And he's going to be shoved out of bounds about the 38-yard line.
Maybe start playing him at receiver a little bit. He's got the moves, and he obviously has the hands. Big momentum change there.
Yep.
That is a killer if you are Southside.
So the Wildcats will have the ball, 1st and 10, putting an abrupt stop to any chance of momentum the Rebels were going to tally up.
David Val went down on that play, able to walk off the field on his own power. He's going to get checked out on the sideline.
So Chandler back at shotgun, Trey Smith to the bottom of your screen, Dundar to the top. That is Blackston, actually. No, it was Dundar. Trey Smith incomplete across the middle. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, it was a good ball in that it was thrown low, but it was a little bit behind Trey Smith, who had to come back for that, and you can chalk that up to the reason that he dropped it. Fuller Chandler, though, not making a lot of bad decisions with his throws, just slightly off target.
So Trey Smith to the bottom of your screen. Chandler back at shotgun. Hannon gets the ball up the middle, and he's off like a cannon. Enough for a first down. They're going to give him about 2 more on top of that.
Hannon Express a little late to pull out of the station this game, but it'll get moving here before long.
So if any of you fans listening to the game want to ride the train, you better get down here quick because the Hannon Express.
You better get your tickets because they're on sale.
1st and 10. Back to Hannon. Hannon Express goes again across the middle. He's got enough for a first down. He's grabbing gears. Down across the 10 and down at the 9. We have a flag on the play.
It's not good when it's behind the play like that. Usually chalks up to a holding penalty. He'll still get a very decent run out of that despite the holding penalty.
Holding against the Wildcats.
Called against Har-Ber.
Still a first down, though. Still get plenty of yardage out of that run. Way down the field. It'll be 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
You have to think that the Rebels at halftime were scheming against Luke Hannon, but obviously ineffective.
Well, and I mentioned that coming into the game. They did that coming into the game, and they were getting beat deep. And so at halftime, I think they flipped it maybe too far in the other direction, and now they're allowing space for Luke Hannon to run. Obviously a big mistake when you got a back that can easily put up 300 yards like he did against a pretty stingy Fayetteville defense.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Hannon has the ball, and he's going to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Hannon on the keeper.
Trey Smith opened down all by himself in the end zone. You know Coach Wood is going to be taking advantage of that.
That was Max Moore on the coverage there. I don't know if he pulled the muscle in his leg. He just gave up on that route. Coaches upstairs should be telling Coach Wood right about now that that's a bad matchup for Southside.
So Chandler rolls to the left, throws to Hannon. It's completed.
He's such a tough back to take down. Number 5 on the tackle. Hunter Pogue really had to throw it. It's a linebacker on the coverage there. To throw his entire weight into taking down Hannon. He's not a guy that you want to try to take down by yourself. Usually 2 or 3 gets the job done, but no less.
3rd down and 5 for the Wildcats. The ball is on the 17-yard line. Twin to the top of your screen. Trey Smith split to the bottom. Chandler drops back, throws across to Trey Smith and in and out of his hands.
That ball came off hot, and Trey Smith had to extend for it. It's a little too much heat on it for him to bring it in, but I think that will go down as a drop. Trey Smith's one of those hit-and-miss receivers. You see him pull in some absolutely incredible circus catches. You also see him drop a little every once in a while. He's one of those receivers that it's either very exciting or just leaves you scratching your head sometimes.
4th down. The field goal unit is on the field. The kick is up, and it is good. So the Wildcats will add 3 to that and increase their lead 24-0 over the Southside Rebels.
Yep. Up now a solid 3 possessions. Any more points and they will be up 4 possessions. Just expanding that lead there.
Zimumbo doing a fantastic job with kicking duties. Kicking off deep in the end zone virtually every time. Pretty much automatic when it comes to field goals so far this year.
Yeah, he's very good at the longer ones. There's been a little bit of inconsistency maybe on the short ones, but definitely no question when it comes to his deep kicks. He put it out the back of the end zone. He can hit 40-plus yarders like he did against Bentonville. He's who you want kicking the football when the game's on the line and you have a deep field goal that you absolutely have to make.
So the Wildcats padding the scoreboard a little bit. And the Southside Rebels looking for some answers on offense.
Yeah, and those 3 points right there were brought to you by Austin Henderson's turnover, courtesy of that interception right there. Points off turnovers are what wins teams' football games. And generating 3 points with, I think, the first turnover of the game.
So 8 minutes, 57 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Wildcats are up 24-0 over the Rebels as we prepare for kickoff. We're having a little trouble here keeping the ball on the tee.
For this kickoff, Wildcat Sports Network would like to thank Catering Unlimited and Tire Tracks for sponsoring this broadcast and making it possible.
So the kick is up. It's going to be fielded from the 5-yard line. And he's going to be brought down about the 27-yard line.
27-yard line. Cattle made by number 45 for Har-Ber, William Coach.
I believe that was Peyton Long, sophomore on the coverage team, that laid that initial hit that threw the return man off balance. Made sure that didn't turn into something a lot longer.
So the Rebels will have the ball 1st and 10. The ball's on the 27-yard line. We have trips to the top of the screen. Johnson drops back. He looks immediately to his right and is overthrown to tight end.
Once again, overthrowing a receiver when he has pressure in his face. It's at some point there has to be a conversation with this quarterback that tells him, yes, you are going to get hit, but you can't keep throwing off your back foot and overthrowing your receivers.
8 minutes, 47 seconds to go in the third. 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels. Johnson's going to keep it up the middle. And he's going to be tackled. He might get 4 yards on the play.
Johnson had 66 carries coming into this game, and we expressed a little bit of concern about him running into the teeth of the Har-Ber defense, but he's taken some pretty good shots tonight and coming out for the most part unscathed. Might be a little sore from bruises and stuff, but he's a very durable quarterback. He's a big guy that can take some punishment, and I don't think they're scared about running him straight up the middle into a very effective defensive line and linebacking core.
I would caution against that, but that's why I'm announcing the game. So Johnson is going to roll to the left, to the right, and he's going to be dropped for a sack.
Chase Anderson hit the gas pedal. They're trying to. I hope they were trying to run the screen there because 4 guys for Har-Ber's defense, 3 defensive linemen and the linebacker, and Chase Anderson came free. And Chase Anderson just hit the quarterback before he had time to let the screen develop.
So the Rebels will back 4th down and 15. They will kick. It's a beautiful kick. Tight spiral. Going to be down the 33-yard line.
That is one of the prettiest punts I have ever seen in my entire life.
That was just gorgeous.
A perfect spiral coming off of his foot. Great hang time. Really got him out of a jam there down on their own end of the field.
Yeah, that was looks like almost a 60-yard punt.
That's what we were seeing him do. Like I said at the beginning of the game, he was kicking it with great hang time and a lot of distance, able to get off one of his practice kicks right there.
So the Wildcats will have the ball 1st and 10 on the 33-yard line. 7 minutes, 29 seconds left to go in the third quarter, where the Wildcats are up 24-0 over the Rebels. Chandler back at shotgun. Twin split to the top of the screen. Hands it off to Hannon. He's got plenty of room. He's in open field, and he's not easy to tackle. He's going to be dropped just shy of the 35-yard line.
The safety was playing about 20 yards deep, number 15, Jalen Brewer, coming up and making an impressive shoestring tackle. There's not a lot of safeties in the league that can tackle Luke Hannon one-on-one.
That was a bit of a Hail Mary tackle.
Yeah, able to just grab onto a foot and trip him up just enough, but
you know his eyes were closed when he was trying to tackle him. So Chandler back, hands it off up the middle again for a Hannon Express 4-yard run.
going back to a little bit about what you expect from Luke Hannon, ripping big plays, showing impressive one-cuts, and making the linebackers miss. That's where he gets the bulk of his yards. He won't always break the safety tackle, but he can get past the linebacking core in that initial cut. You can count on him getting a 20, 30-yard chunk.
2nd and 8. Chandler back, throws deep. Incomplete.
Did not get a number on
Trey,
that.
is that Trey Smith?
It's not Trey Smith. TJ Eckwood rolls in at cornerback and receiver. We were told he was going to play a little bit of receiver this year. Getting his first look down the field.
3rd down and 8 for the Wildcats. Twin split to the top of the screen. Doing Dar to the bottom. Chandler up the middle. And he's going to get the usual 5 or 6 yards.
Be about a 4th and 2, a long 2 from this position here. In that no man's land that we talked about earlier. A little long to try to risk a field goal, but when you got a back like Luke Hannon, go ahead and go for it. And that looks like what they're going to do.
I would expect to see the same play.
And there they are, stacking 7 guys in the box.
They're back to pass. Throws it across the middle. It is complete to Doing Dara. His helmet comes off.
That was a very, very stiff. I don't know if it was a face mask. I had a bad angle on it here, but definitely got up under the back of his helmet, which is not necessarily a penalty. I think it tore his helmet loose, and on the second contact, his helmet came off. But great focus looking that ball in on a tough 4th down catch.
So that gives the Wildcats 1st and 10 from the, looks like about the 12-yard line. Chandler drops back, throws to the corner, and Blackston is out of bounds.
Said he was bobbling, got a foot down, but was bobbling it as he went out of bounds. We're going to defer to the referee there as he was right on top of that play.
You don't typically see Blackston bobble the ball, but they did have a better angle than we did. 5 minutes, 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Wildcats are threatening to score again. 2nd down and 10. The ball is on the 12-yard line. Chandler back at shotgun. Hannon right behind him. Gonna fake to Hannon. It's gonna be completed to Blackston.
Blackston caught that ball on the 2nd attempt after he took a hit from, I assume, was either a strong safety or an outside linebacker coming from the inside there. Excellent focus to take a pretty solid hit and still find the football and come down with it.
So that's a 5-yard completion. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 5 with 5 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Wildcats dangerously close to another 6 points. Chandler with a hard count. Looks to the sideline for confirmation. So they're going to make a quick little adjustment here. He's going to take the snap. Looks to the left corner. Got a man wide open. Trey Smith in for the touchdown. Wildcats.
Trey Smith came wide open there on that one cut, and that's where he excels as a receiver. Coming out of those cuts, he runs very clean routes. That route there generated 4 to 5 yards of separation. All he had to do was turn around and find the football.
So in typical Wildcat fashion, they keep hitting the gas pedal and putting points up on the board. 30 so far to the Rebels 0 as they line up for the extra point.
Have we gotten an update recently on the Fayetteville score?
Fayetteville's ahead 31-0. PAT is good, so that's going to give the Wildcats 31, the Rebels 0. So with 4 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter, the Wildcats extend their lead.
Yeah, and the reason I ask about the Fayetteville score is there was a little bit of controversy coming off of the game last week about where those teams should be ranked. You see polls like Hooten's and Arkansas Rivals that say, of course, Har-Ber should be number 1 because they beat the team that was number 1. And then you see other polls, specifically Fearless Friday, that still rank Fayetteville number 1 because they don't believe that Har-Ber in 100 games, Har-Ber would win more than 50. However you look at it, this game this week, both teams are trying to prove their merits by taking on conference opponents and trying to put as many points on them as they can and shut out. That's what we're seeing right now. Fayetteville shutting out their opponent, Har-Ber shutting out their opponent. Obviously two very good teams, and there's a very good chance we're going to get to see them meet again in the playoffs.
So Mumbo back to kick the kickoff, and it is deep into the end zone, and it's going to be a touchback for the Rebels. So the Rebels will get the ball 1st and 10 from the 20 with 4 minutes and 42 seconds left to go in the third quarter.
Har-Ber's defense once again gets an opportunity to show how well they've been playing tonight, holding the Rebels to 0 points with 4:42 left in the third quarter. Unbelievable performance by this entire defensive unit.
Johnson takes the snap. He's going to hand it off on around the right-hand side. He's going to be met immediately by the Har-Ber Wildcats. So Hayward on the tackle there, along with most of the interior line there of the defense.
Yeah, Sam Hall shed a block there and was able to lay a hand on the running back, slow him down, give the guys on the interior, like Noah Hayward, time to come in and finish that play there.
Johnson back, throws, it's deflected by, is that Val?
David Val says no.
David Val with the rejection, which is going to bring up 3rd down and 8.
Now, I don't remember who deflected the first pass tonight, but that is the second deflected pass this defensive line has had. Doing a very good, or this defensive front might have been a linebacker earlier. They've done a very good job putting their hands up, getting in the quarterback's throwing lanes, and really just disrupting his entire passing game all night.
So 3rd down and 8 for the Rebels. It trips to the top of your screen. Johnson drops back. He's got a completion for a 1st down, and it's about a 20-yard pass play. It's going to bring him up to the 43-yard line.
Down 31 points with 4 minutes, 5 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Every single play is crucial for the Rebels. If they want to try to salvage any of their pride that they had coming into this game, they need to start putting things together on offense, generating momentum, and putting points on the board. That's priority number 1 for this offense.
So pass play out to the flats here, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds about 3 yards short of the 1st down. So it's a 7-yard run on the 1st down completion.
Robertson coming from his interior linebacker position to make a play on the sideline, showing a good amount of range.
2nd down and 2, 3 minutes, 47 seconds to go in the third quarter. Southside putting a couple plays together here so far in the third quarter.
Yeah, they have. They've found somewhat of a rhythm here. Now it's on Johnson not to screw it up with a bad pass.
Johnson drops back, deflected. The Naseli just said nope, none of that. And I believe he was the one that deflected the first part of the game.
It probably was. Lots of Har-Ber players are getting in there and getting their shot at either pressuring the quarterback or rejecting his passes. And these aren't tip balls. They are flat-out basketball-style rejections. It's starting to look ugly out there for this quarterback. He cannot find any room to throw the ball, and when he does, his passes are usually not on target.
So with 3:45 to go in the third quarter, the Rebels hitting a bit of a weak spot. Hands it off to Rogers around the left-hand side. He's got enough for 1st down, and he coughs it up. And Austin Henderson off to the races, but they're going to say he was down, and he was.
Austin Henderson showed a little bit of burst of speed there. I don't think we've seen that of him yet.
I think he thought they lasered him for a 40.
Yeah, look for him to be running the 100-meter dash and track. Somebody better start recruiting him because that was an impressive burst of speed when he picked up that fumble.
Yep.
Wow.
So 1st and 10 for the Rebels, 3:32 on the clock. Johnson back at shotgun, trips to the top of your screen. He's going to drop back for a pass. Throws it across the middle, and it is almost intercepted by Blaze Brothers.
spun around. The ball was on his backside hip the entire time he was spinning. Couldn't get his other hand around to it, but nonetheless, excellent coverage by Blaze Brothers there. Just not enough rotation to reel that one in.
2nd down and 10. The ball is on the 45-yard line.
Cooper Johnson taken down in the backfield.
96, being the first one in there.
Bean dropping for a sack. 3rd down, and looks like about 13.
You know, you see Riley Bean coming in a lot for David Valor here, and what's impressed me the most about Riley Bean is that you don't see a drop-off in talent when he comes in, which is exactly what you want out of guys that rotate in. You don't want to see a drop in talent. You don't want to create a weak link in the defense. We've been seeing a great game out of Riley Bean so far.
So Johnson back for pass, throws across the middle into triple coverage, and we have a flag on the play.
Noah Hayward was almost responsible for one of the biggest collisions on the season. I think he pulled up, and rightfully so, because that would have taken the receiver's head off.
So that is going to go against the Wildcats. With 2 minutes and 31 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. This is probably the deepest the Rebels have been.
They have been putting together a very impressive drive here. I think something's finally starting to click for them, but unfortunately it might be too little too late, as they have a 31-point deficit to erase with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Johnson's going to keep it around the left-hand side.
Cooper Johnson on the keeper around the left side.
Cooper Johnson finding some space there. They're using a variety of plays to get the job done here. A little bit of short passes. Johnson's relying on his legs a little bit more than his arm to get this drive done. And the Wildcats have definitely helped them out with a few penalties.
So 2:07 on the clock. Hands it off to Rogers around the right-hand side. He's going to be met immediately at the line of scrimmage.
Kobe Rogers down to the 19-yard line.
So he's going to get about a yard.
You know, it's interesting here is, you know, we just talked about they're starting to put a drive together, but the closer you get to your goal line, it seems that the tougher this Har-Ber defense gets. They get exponentially better when they get inside of their own red zone here, so the task just gets tougher for an already struggling Rebels offense.
Johnson back, looks to the right, incomplete.
Johnson's pass was intended for number 85.
That was Bright.
Austin Henderson on the coverage.
Yes, it was Austin Henderson on the coverage there. Really blanket coverage. There was no chance he was going to come down with that football. Austin Henderson was on him like a backpack.
1:27 left to go in the 3rd quarter here at Southside Stadium. Johnson back, takes a snap. He's going to be rushed out of the pocket and dropped. Well, looks like Ramirez had him tackled, and as he was going down, he throws the ball.
I'm not sure.
He looked down on that, but they're going to give the completion to the Southside Rebels.
I thought that was a lineman, but it's actually a tight end, number 85, Kevin White. Extremely big, but still an eligible receiver.
4th down and 5, 53-52. The clock continues to run.
49 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Do or die here for the Rebels.
So complete a pass to the left side of the field, and he's going to be
rejected,
leveled as he gets knocked out of bounds.
They're marking him short.
And we have a change of downs. So the Har-Ber defense rising to the occasion, as they usually do, and puts a stop to the Southside Rebels advance to the end zone.
There was two things that receiver did wrong in that play. The first one was hesitating when he was that close to the first down marker. He was right next to it so he could see it. And the second thing was not putting his head down and getting sandblasted there on the sideline because they know that he had only one direction to go for the first down.
Chandler back, hands it off to, looks like Naseli. And he's going to get about 8 yards on the play.
Clock continues to run now, down under 26 seconds in the third quarter. Wildcats are going to try to eat as much of that up as they can.
Number 25, Gage Hill.
So Tally Naseli in the backfield, single setback. They're going to hand it off to him again. He's got enough for a first down, and he's going to tack about 2 yards on top of that. And that's going to bring us to 4 seconds left as they move the chains for the first down.
Showing off a little bit of his ability to find holes and great ball carrier vision. That's one of the things that impresses me so much about Naseli and Luke Hannon. Both of them have obviously great speed, great one-cut ability. Great lateral agility, but where they excel over most running backs is their ball carrier vision. And it's not as difficult when you have an O-line like this, but when you get into the second level, they know which cut's the best cut to make, and they make it and go. There's not a lot of hesitation. There's not a lot of dancing around. They're north and south backs that can make a cut and get those 2 to 3 extra yards that other backs don't get because they're too busy moving side to side. Both these guys just phenomenal. Obviously, you see that in Luke Hannon, far and away leading the conference in rushing.
Luke Hannon is basically at a totally different level than the rest of the backs in the 7A West.
Yeah, to harken back to what we were talking about earlier, the conference race right now, if you can even call it a race, it's not even close, is between Luke Hannon, Jacob Clark of Bentonville, and Luke Rapert of Fayetteville. Luke Hannon with 1,112 yards. Second place, Jacob Clark with 719 yards. And a distant third place is Luke Rapert with 582 yards. It's going to be very tough for anybody to catch Luke Hannon.
Well, and you know that's coming into tonight's contest. So, Luke's got maybe 150 yards so far this game. So Naseli gets 5 yards on the first down. That's going to bring up second down and 5. As we start the fourth quarter.
Har-Ber still burning clock, down under 11 minutes, 29 seconds in the game.
Chandler throws it. Blackston catches it for a first down. He's going to tack about 2 more on top of that.
And the one thing you love to see out of this offense is still fighting for extra yards, even though they're up by 31 points. They're still going to burn clock. Clock will continue to roll as the chains get set here, but they're still fighting for those yards. They're still showing a desire to get better and to carry this momentum into next week. And that's what a championship team presents. They never give up, even when they have the victory in hand.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Naseli gets the ball, punishing defenders as they try to tackle him. He's going to get about 5 yards on the play.
And where Naseli and Luke Hannon differ is that you can almost guarantee that Naseli is going to hit you. Luke Hannon's very elusive. It's hard to hit him. He'll do a little shake and bake in the second level. Naseli's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put my shoulder pads down, and I'm going to hit you harder than you hit me.
Well, during the coach's show, we interviewed Naseli, and he said he loves to hit people. He's a linebacker.
He's a linebacker that can run the football.
So they're going to give it to him again, and he is going to get about 3 yards on that play.
When you run the football like he does, and you can guarantee 3 to 4 yards a carry, that's all you have to do. And Luke Hannon does it very well as well, which is one of the reasons why Har-Ber's offense is so good at keeping leads, because once they have those leads, they burn clock. And it's very hard for teams to erase a deficit when they're working with a shorter clock than they're used to.
So that's 3rd down and 4 for the Wildcats. 9:52 left to go in the game. And he's going to get about a yard on the play.
Going to bring up 4th down here.
And they're marking him back at the line of scrimmage. So that's 4th down and 4 with 9:36 to go in the ball game.
The offense is still on the field here.
They have enough confidence in the offense and the defense to basically do whatever they want to.
You're winning by 31 points. Any decision you make at this point is not as important as it was at the beginning of the game.
Absolutely. 5 seconds, 4 seconds on the clock. Looks like we're going to call a timeout here, and we do. So we're going to take the timeout with them. The Wildcats lead the Rebels 31-0 with 9 minutes and 7 seconds left to go in the ball game. You're watching Wildcat football on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Olive Garden's Buy One, Take One is back, but not for long. Starting at $12.99. Join us tonight for your choice of irresistible entrees, like rich and creamy smoked mozzarella chicken bursting with Italian cheese and sun-dried tomatoes, plus unlimited garden salad and warm breadsticks. Then take home another entree free, like fettuccine Alfredo. It's 2 delicious nights of togetherness for one low price. Buy one, take one, starting at $12.99. Olive Garden, we're all family here. Now order Olive Garden to go online.
Welcome back to Southside, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Har-Ber lines up for the punt, 4th down and 4. Trey Smith back to do the punting duties. And the kick is up, and it is going to be fumbled.
Chase Anderson on the fumble recovery. He's going to take it into the end zone.
Touchdown, Wildcats!
Salt in the wound.
You can just feel the air sucked out of the sails of the Southside Rebels.
If you're going to call a fair catch, rule number 1, actually catch the football.
That is one rule to follow.
And as the defense didn't make it tough enough, the punt team goes down and tacks on another 6 points. I don't think there's a single aspect of this Har-Ber team that hasn't scored a touchdown this year.
The trumpet player in the Har-Ber Wildcat band has not scored so far this year.
We should start rolling them in some more. We're an equal opportunity scorer.
They need more. He needs more playing time, apparently. 8 minutes. So that was not a touchdown.
Really?
So the Wildcats will get the ball on the 30-yard line. 1st and 10, 8 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. And we're about a play or two away from a touchdown here.
No matter where the Wildcats are on the field, that's always how many plays away they are from a score.
Naseli gets the ball. He's going across the middle. He's on his horse. Across the 5. Touchdown! Wildcats!
You take a touchdown away, and they'll put another one on the board. That's how
wrong.
demoralizing this offense is.
I said 1 or 2 plays. It was 1 play.
You were 50% right.
So with 8 minutes and 34 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter, the Wildcats score again. And that will invoke the mercy rule.
Yep, the clock will continue to roll here. Now we're up over 35 points. I do not believe Har-Ber has ever mercy ruled the Southside Rebels. Definitely not in my time at Har-Ber or any time I can remember.
So the kick is up. The extra point is good, and that's going to give the Wildcats 38 and the Southside Rebels 0.
I don't think anybody saw this coming. A lot of people thought the offense would do this to the Southside Rebels. You saw guesses in the 40s for this offense, and you should, with an offense as skilled as Har-Ber's is. But nobody thought the defense would completely shut down supposedly the number 2 or number 3 offense statistically in the 7A West. And that's what they have done. They put pressure on the quarterback. They've locked down coverages. Nobody's been able, especially Simpson, hasn't been able to slip out deep behind him. Henderson's played great deep, forced bad throws. I cannot say enough about how well this defense has played tonight in pitching a shutout.
Well, what we've seen also is the Wildcats, week after week, get exponentially better and better. Special teams, the last few weeks, really rising to the occasion. Defense stepping up. All aspects of the offense are clicking.
And honestly, what that is, it's 2 things. It's great coaching, and the second thing that is a commitment by all of the players, the starters especially, to a common goal. And I think after they beat Bentonville, there was a change in mindset, and maybe even before that, to where we are not the team that we were last year. We're not only going to win 3 games this year, we're going to win them all. And it might have been after that Webb City game, somebody put their foot down and said, this is going to be the last game we lose this year. I don't care how we have to win them. I don't care if we have to go out on special teams and score touchdowns. I don't care if our defense has to pitch shutouts against Southside. We're going to do it. And they played phenomenally well this entire year, but you're absolutely right. They just keep getting better as the season goes on.
So Rogers is going to bounce it out to the left-hand side. He's going to be tackled. He might have got a foot on that play. Har-Ber's defense is just not giving their offense, the Rebels' offense, any room at all.
No, and the defense doing the same thing as the offense. The defense is pinning their ears back and going. They're up by 38 points right now, and they're still pitching the shutout.
Yeah, this is the second team defense in there.
A few of your starters are still in.
So that is going to be completed for a first down. So that's going to bring up 1st and 10 for the Rebels. 7:33 on the clock.
A few of these players we don't have names for in our roster, so we'll be calling the numbers.
Hands it off across the... and he is dropped right at the line of scrimmage.
Number 93, River Rogers on the tackle. Giving that running back a little R&R.
So that's second down and a long 9 for the Rebels. There's 6:53 on the clock. Left to go in the fourth quarter. Wildcats 38, the Rebels 0. Johnson dropping back, throws, it's completed, but he is nope, it's incomplete. So Cook making sure that the completion is not going to happen by just laying the pads to him.
And that's what they teach you to do. If you can't play the ball, play the receiver, and then your jobs become separating the receiver from the football.
And his cleats. 6:13 to go in the fourth quarter. Johnson takes the ball, throws deep, and he's about 10 yards overthrown.
Once again, a grossly overthrown ball because there was pressure. At what point as a quarterback do you just buckle down and take the hit?
Yeah.
I mean, he's completed, granted, Southside throws the ball a lot, but he's thrown for 1,500 yards this season. He's one of the top passers in the conference. But from what we've seen from him tonight, those passes had to have come from times that he hasn't been pressured that much.
The Rebels, looks like we got to jump off sides here. Number 65, looks like for the Wildcats.
That'll move the ball up 5 yards there.
I believe that's Iben. 4th down and 5. I don't think the Rebels are going to do anything different. 5:27 on the clock.
Oh.
So the kick is off, and one of the blockers for the Rebels is going to have a few bruises tomorrow.
He didn't just lay the pine there, he brought the whole sawmill.
So with 5 minutes and 8 seconds left to go in the ball game, the Wildcats have the ball again. And the Rebels have pretty much given up.
They have, and they have no reason to fight at this point. Just try to tuck your tail and not get anybody hurt before you try to go play the team, whoever they play next week. Har-Ber coming off impressive back-to-back wins against Bentonville and Fayetteville, the two other toughest teams in this conference, and then following it up with a shutout performance and an amazing offensive performance as they are beating the Rebels 38-0 in their home stadium.
And we're going to run it up the middle for about 5 yards. That's going to bring a second down and 5 with 4 minutes and 49 seconds left to go in the ball game. And rightfully so, Coach Wood has the second and third team in there, getting playing time, exposure in the 7A West Conference. So next year, they become veterans. Hands it up the middle, and that's going to be enough for a first down.
Braden Haley on the carry there. Showing a little bit of his moves.
That's James Haley.
Tackle made by number 36 for the Rebels side, Kelly. First down for the Wildcats.
It's Haley. We're not exactly sure what his first name is.
Two different rosters saying two different things.
First and 10 for the Wildcats. The ball's on the 21-yard line. Handed off to Haley again. He's met back in the backfield, but he's going to fight back to the line of scrimmage. Very elusive runner.
Yeah, very quick and shifty. Able to get in and out of his cuts quickly. Makes him hard to lay a solid hit on if you're a linebacker. Clock ticks down under 3 minutes and 40 seconds in the game. Mercy rule is in effect, as Har-Ber has greater than a 35-point advantage with a 38-0 lead over the Rebels.
So looks like Hennington throws to the flat. Completed, and that's about a 7-yard gain.
We'll bring up third down here. Clock continues to roll. It'll be down under 3 minutes here before the next snap. 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of this game.
Third down and a long 4 for the Wildcats. Hennington takes the snap, hands it off up the middle to, believe.
Yeah, Trevor Dobson on the carry.
This is fourth down.
This is an opportunity that everybody gets to play here. I mean, this is what, a lot of these guys live for. This was me my junior year. Getting to play under the lights for all the effort that you put in the off season. It's really something special.
Fourth down and 4. The punting unit is on for the Wildcats with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the ball game. Trey Smith kicks a low rolling ball, bounces over the punt returner's head, and that's going to roll across the 10 and stop about the 9-yard line. So that, not a pretty kick, but very effective.
It's about a 70-yard punt.
That's the ugliest 70-yard punt I've ever seen.
But actually, that's exactly how they draw it up. That's the benefit of the rugby-style kick. Doesn't have a lot of hang time, but when it hits the ground, it's hard to put a hand on, and if it goes, it usually rolls 20, 30 yards like you saw right there. Trey Smith's gotten fairly good at it through practicing this season. Northside starting to open up a larger lead on Springdale now. Last score update I saw was 34-17.
Minute 57 seconds left to go. Southside takes it up the middle. They're going to have about 6 yards on the play.
Clock continues to roll down under a minute and 45 seconds. Mercy rule is still in effect. Rebels not taking too many shots downfield. They look like they're content to get to their homes and sleep in their beds.
So there's a minute 29. The clock continues to roll. They are in no hurry. They're going to try to kill as much clock as possible just to keep the ball out of Har-Ber's hands. Johnson rolls to the right-hand side.
He's corralled. Frankly, I think it's ridiculous that they leave their starters in and risk injury.
There's a flag on the play.
I saw the flag come out early before the play developed over that direction. Donald, what's the rationale on keeping your starting quarterback in the game when you're down 38 points?
Pride. I mean, that's really it. They're just trying to get points on the board and get out of here with something on the board instead of a 0.
Is your pride worth risking your starting quarterback going into the last two games of the season?
I would argue that I wouldn't be running him up the middle against a Har-Ber defense all game long either.
That's true, but he's held up pretty well to that.
Yeah, but after a while, you just get banged up and you get hurt. Why take a chance?
You have to think that you're going to protect the players that you're going to try to ride the next two games and get you better seeding in the playoffs.
So we're going to bounce to the left-hand side on the run play. It's number 37 for the Rebels. 2nd down and 5 as we get close to the end of the ball game with 44 seconds left to go. The clock continues to run here as the mercy rule is in effect. And Southside is just sitting here waiting for that clock to come to an end to end this punishment.
If they're starting quarterback in, I would not be surprised to see them take a deep shot down the field like right here.
And it's, as usual, incomplete.
Under 18 seconds now.
The defensive line getting tremendous penetration.
They are, and they have all night. And they're going to call that a game.
The Southside Rebels want nothing more to do with the Har-Ber Wildcats as they end the game here at Jim Rowland Stadium. Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Wildcats win 38-0 over the Southside Rebels.
We're going to cut to a quick commercial break here, but when we come back, we'll have some post-game analysis for you. You are listening to the Har-Ber Wildcats on the Wildcat Sports Network.
Do you need new tires? Do you want a price match guarantee? Do you want to wait in a newly renovated waiting room? Do you want tire services at any time with no appointment? Then Tire Tracks is the place for you. With our price match guarantee and the largest inventory of new and used tires in the area, we have tires for every budget. Tire Tracks, Northwest Arkansas's largest independent tire dealer.
The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is this program that we are pushing through the schools to increase awareness of bullying in the schools, not just for those who are bullied, but for the bullies. The Youth Bridge Bully Buster program is symbolized in these orange wristbands, and kids can wear them proudly and say that they're going to stand up to bullies and they're going to seek assistance, they're going to seek help, they're going to talk to parents and their teachers to let them know that either they're being victimized by bullies or their friends are being victimized by bullies. These kids are wanting to go to school to get an education. They want to hang out with their friends and they want to feel safe when they go to school. And when they're having challenges with their peers, we need to make sure that not only are the kids who are victims of bullying taken care of, but also to try to see what things that the bullies are needing as far as like social skills training or mentoring or any kind of help or understanding as to what's going on with them. Because sometimes it's not that they have an innate meanness to them. And one of the things that we have to do is go in, and sometimes it's a family intervention. And we can meet with the moms and the dads or the guardians or anybody else who's interacting with the kid who is having these challenging behaviors, and just put some things in place and to redirect them in order so they can be successful in the community and in the schools. YouthBridge has clinicians on staff that are experts in working with families that have these types of challenges, from mental health issues to mental illness issues. We have licensed professional counselors, we have mental health paraprofessionals, case managers, drug counselors that can get involved in a child's life to try to improve their situation. And if the family is needing more eyes and ears to be advocates for them, then YouthBridge has the team that can do that. And so with the YouthBridge Bully Buster campaign, we hope to bring awareness and action to bullying in our school systems.
Welcome back to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where the Har-Ber Wildcats win over the Southside Rebels 38-0. Blake, this is kind of what I expected coming into the game. A little bit of a slow start, but victorious nonetheless.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not expect this coming into the game. I did not expect a complete blowout of the Southside Rebels. Like I said, I cannot remember the last time, if ever, Har-Ber has mercy ruled Southside. And I don't think Southside has mercy ruled Har-Ber either. It was a much stiffer contest in previous years than it was this year. And this Har-Ber football team improving all season long, showing that they're the team to beat. They came out tonight to make a statement to silence the naysayers that say that Fayetteville's still the number one team in the league. They came out here and wanted to make a statement, and that's exactly what they did. I have no doubt in my mind, and I don't think anybody else should, that Har-Ber's proven not only is it the number one team in the 7A, it's also the number one team in the state currently. They're performing well above expectations, coming off a 3-win season last season, and like I mentioned earlier, they're now in the discussion for state championship contention, which people would have laughed at you if you told them that a team that won 3 games last season was going to win state the next year, or would have a chance at winning state the next year. Sports writers would have laughed at you, other teams' fans would have laughed at you, but who wouldn't have laughed at you was the guys on this field right now, the Har-Ber football players on this field. They're celebrating a 38-0 victory over Southside after just beating Fayetteville and Bentonville. They came into the season with something to prove, and after a brief falter with Webb City, have now won 7 games straight, improved to 7-1 on the season, and now everyone, even the people that would have laughed at you, believe them. They've come out to do one thing, like I said, prove a point. And with this 38-0 victory and Northside coming to town next week, they have set themselves up for an outright share of the conference championship and a first-round bye going into the playoffs.
So Northside, I believe, is still ahead, 34-17 over the Springdale Bulldogs. Northside, as Blake had mentioned, coming home to Springdale next Friday night. Northside, tough defensively. I think they struggle a little bit offensively, but what can we expect next week, Blake?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And it's a little bit of the reverse of what you usually see, especially what I saw when I played at Har-Ber. You could expect Northside to be very athletic offensively, have very quick receivers, a quarterback that can get the ball down the field. They've kind of flipped the script this year, and you see a Northside team that's really buckled down on their defense and is able to play defense very well. You see holding Springdale currently to 17 points. Springdale offense is very good in the past. So I think Har-Ber going in next week, the defense is going to have to play like they did tonight. I don't think they're going to get a harder challenge than they did tonight. And if they play exactly like they did and pitch a shutout, then the Har-Ber's offense, then they can just ride Har-Ber's offense into a victory. But that being said, there are no off weeks in the 7A West. And so it's still going to be a tough game. These players can't get in the mindset that they can coast into the playoffs, because that's absolutely not the case. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for them moving into the last game of the season, playing Heritage, a team that's by most measures the worst team in the conference. It'll be harder to play them at the end of the season, going in with a conference championship at stake, than it would be to play them in the middle of the season. You have to convince your players to get up for a game that everybody else is telling them that they shouldn't be. Where I think Har-Ber's players have the benefit coming into Northside next week and Heritage the week after is that they were the underdogs coming into this season. They were the Heritage coming into this season, and everybody told them that they couldn't do it. Well, they've come out and shocked everyone. Come out and ran through conference play. People can't say enough good things about these players, and so that they know what it's like to play as the underdog. So I don't think that they take games off for the next 2 weeks. I think they do exactly what they did tonight, put the pedal down, shut them out on defense, and run up the score and lock down that first week bye.
So, we talked about it a little bit during the coaches show, before the coaches show, but, Har-Ber's defense, they have 5 sophomores that start. One of the things that inexperience teaches you is that you don't take a break at all during the season. And, it's easy, if you think about it, these guys, these 5 sophomores were playing junior high football last year. And so you play a team like, and I'm not trying to skip over Northside, but you play a team like Rogers, Heritage, who's struggling, as you mentioned. It's kind of, it's almost, you have to kind of guard against them taking the week off. And getting those guys up. And that's where the veterans come in and say, listen, every game, like you mentioned just a minute ago, every game is important.
And I think what's key when you talk about the sophomores starting on defense is almost every position group that has a lot of sophomores in it has a senior leader. And I want to use the defensive secondary as an example. You have Blaze Brothers and Brighton Cook, sophomore corners. You have Peyton Kofer as a safety that started at quarterback for Central last year, led Central to a conference title. now starting at safety is the backup quarterback for Har-Ber, but then anchoring that entire position group, Austin Henderson, a 3-year starter, he is the voice of experience in that secondary. And that entire secondary unit has been silencing the naysayers by completely shutting down deep threats. The corners are playing lockdown coverage. Austin Henderson's coming up and making plays from his safety position on the line of scrimmage. I can't say enough good things about how well this secondary has played, with 3 sophomores starting at the guys responsible for not letting anybody get around them or behind them. And that kind of anchoring of the defense has allowed the defensive line and linebackers to pin their ears back and put pressure like they did on Cooper Johnson tonight.
So let's talk a little bit in the closing moments of the show about Har-Ber's offensive line. You know, I'm a big offensive line fan, you know, former offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You know, these guys are really the unsung heroes. You know, you come to Southside, which is always a fist fight, especially when you play at Southside. How much improvement, how much dominance has the offensive line for Har-Ber had this year?
Well, I think when somebody asks the question, how is the Har-Ber offensive line doing this year, you go and show them the stat that we talked about earlier, where Luke Hannon has 1,112 rushing yards. Granted, Luke Hannon is a great running back. He's the top running back in the 7A, probably the entire 7A. Had the conference rushing title last year, has it this year. But moving past him, that success is brought to you courtesy of the offensive line. Those running lanes are brought to you by good form, by keeping defenders away from their body, by not holding. We saw maybe 1 or 2 holding penalties. This entire game out of the Har-Ber offensive line. And so their ability to generate lanes, to provide pass coverage, great pocket for Fuller Chandler, I mean, you can't say enough about them. I mean, you don't have good stats. Like, there's not exciting stats for the offensive line. So when you want to talk about how good guys like Manuel Carrillo, Kyle Guthrie, Drew Dodson, Ross Childers, Damon Nelson, when you want to talk about those guys, you have to look to passing stats and rushing stats, because the success of those position groups is directly correlated with how well your offensive line does. And having the number 1 rusher in the league and a top 5 passer in the league and a top 5 receiver in the league, that's your offensive line saying you're welcome for the good blocking.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, that's going to end it for us here down in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where again the Har-Ber Wildcats 38, the Southside Rebels 0. We'll be back again at home next Friday night, where the Northside Grizzlies will come to town. For Blake, myself, Athletic Director Wayne Stellick, and Dr. Jim Rollins, Superintendent for the Springdale Public Schools, you've been watching Wildcat Football on the Wildcat Sports Network.